What a scene at Jackson State, and what a scene it is here in Morgantown as well. TCU in West Virginia with the leaves changing, the sun shining, a perfect day for football at Mountaineer Field. As we welcome you to ESPN College Football, presented by Marathon. You're watching the Big 12 Conference on ESPN. What a season it has been already for TCU after 21 years being led by Gary Patterson. They make a change. They hire Sonny Dykes away from SMU, and Coach Dykes has them for the first time in 5 years off to an undefeated 7-0 start and in the top 10 of the AP poll. The second team in Big 12 history to defeat a ranked opponent 4 consecutive weeks. One of 6 remaining undefeated teams in FBS. A path to the playoff? Very possible. Bob Wischusen here with Roddy Jones. Chris Budden will join us from down on the field in just a moment. Is it possible? Can Horned Frog fans really believe and dream that this could happen?
They certainly can. I mean, the hardest part of the schedule is behind them. You're sitting here at 7-0 undefeated, but they're going to have to remain undefeated because with what they've got coming up, I don't think their resume will hold up with one loss. And the Big 12 is a league where the competition, the level of talent between the teams is pretty slim from top to bottom. So they're going to continue to have to battle it out. But this offense is one of the absolute best in the country with Garrett Riley leading it as offensive coordinator. And Sonny Dykes has one of the best stories in college football.
And Chris, this is an opponent that West Virginia knows well.
Yeah, if you're West Virginia, take some confidence in the fact that you've seen so many of these pieces against TCU's offense. Last year, when you limited them just to 17 points, TCU has 10 of their 11 starters returning from a year ago. They've also had to battle from behind at halftime the last 2 weeks. Sonny Dykes, though, telling us that this is a team that is confident and never panics. Kind of reminds him of those Mike Leach Texas Tech teams he was a part of many years ago.
Not a pattern, though, Roddy, that you want to continue to repeat. They don't want to find themselves down 17 and 18 points routinely, especially in the second half. They found ways to pull these games out of the fire, but they're looking for a much better start.
It's not where you want to live. And they've had a run of teams where they've been able to get to the backup quarterback in those games as they've mounted these comebacks.
West Virginia won the toss and deferred. The always dangerous Darius Davis back deep to receive. He's going to bring it out from 4 yards deep. He's got 5 career kick return touchdowns, 4 on the punt side, and he only makes it to the 19-yard line. Well, what a story Max Duggan has become. Starts off the year as the backup quarterback. Of course, his father played football at South Dakota, longtime high school coach. He was the Gatorade Player of the Year in Iowa back in 2018. So all of the high school credentials necessary. He might have been the backup to begin the year, but he's played a ton of ball. Started all 6 games after the season opener when Chandler Morris went down with a knee injury against Colorado. And I mean, there's a chance, Roddy, he could end up in the Heisman conversation if he's not there already.
The numbers certainly support it, and the story of this team, the performance of this offense does as well.
Kendre Miller gets them started with a gain of 6.
Bob, the run game for TCU, as much hype as Max Duggan gets, he's going to be a part of that run game. But the run game of TCU and the performance of Kendre Miller, I think it's been one of the most impressive things about this offense. Garrett Riley called it their get-out-of-jail-free card with how consistent they've been.
Miller empties the backfield. Quarterback run with Duggan is very dangerous, always an option. Although it seems like he's a little bit more of a progression read quarterback and then go than maybe the one read quarterback and run that he used to be.
He is, and that's sort of the development that we've seen this year from him. The system really fits. I mean, that was just a little read where if he likes it, he can throw the swing pass to the running back. If not, you've got a draw built in. They like to get him running the ball early in the game to kind of get him in the flow.
They're coming after him here. The blitz picked up. He's one-on-one out to the edge. Wide open, Darius Davis. Davis stays in bounds, toe taps, and gets out at the 42-yard line of West Virginia. So the blitz picked up, and it's a 26-yard gain.
As you said, Bob, it's a really nice blitz pickup, and then just one-on-one with Davis Mallinger, the spear, that sort of Sam linebacker position. That's a mismatch that TCU takes advantage of. A little corner route where he sets him up nicely to the inside, and it's wide open to the outside.
Trent Battle and Kendre Miller, both in the backfield, flanking Duggan. Little zone read, a swing pass out to the edge that was blown up and dangerously thrown by Duggan. I'm not sure that he saw Charles Woods who sniffed that one out, knifing between the two receivers, but he was there.
Charles Woods sees this immediately, gets right past Quentin Johnston and blows it up in the backfield. No pass interference behind the line of scrimmage. Charles Woods, a big addition coming off of injury to this West Virginia defense.
Jet sweep, Davis. Inside the 40-yard line, wrestled down at the 37 for a gain of 5 by Aubrey Burks. So this West Virginia defense that has allowed over 590 yards of offense 2 weeks in a row forces an early third down.
And this is where the legs of Max Duggan really come into play. As you get a look at Dante Stills, one of the best pass rushers in the Big 12. When he gets rolling, he can really cause some issues. They're going empty set, trying to get man-to-man, and if Max Duggan doesn't like it, then he can certainly take off with his legs.
West Virginia brings a blitz, but whistles stopping play. A timeout called from the sideline by Neil Brown. So West Virginia spends a timeout here. So before third down and 5, an opportunity to take a look at the impact players. And Roddy, Quentin Johnston, he is an NFL first-round potential pick in the making.
A lot of the talk coming into this year was about Jackson Smith-Njigba and Keyshawn Boutte, but over the course of the season, Quentin Johnston has really emerged as a guy that could be that #1 overall receiver drafted. Big, strong, fast. I think his speed-size combination at 6'4" is impressive. Then we just talked about Dante Stills, been a 5-year player for West Virginia, a guy that has 54 games played in his career, has had to move around a little bit more this year and sort of sacrifice the individual stats, but still one of the best and most disruptive defensive linemen in the Big 12.
Of course, his older brother Darius was an All-American alongside him at one point here at West Virginia. So after the timeout, third down and 5. Amari DiMercato is the running back to the left of Duggan. Duggan well protected and finds Quentin Johnston. A turnaround route inside the 30 down to the 27-yard line, picks up 10 and an easy first down.
Just a really good job of Johnston finding a little bit of space inside the corner. Woods, you saw Woods kind of point inside, expecting the safety Marcus Floyd to come down. But Johnston finds the space, gets the first down.
Mercado quickly diving down to the 23-yard line, picking up 4. Davis Mallinger made the stop.
Talked about Kendre Miller earlier in the game, and he is the bell cow for this Horned Frogs team. But it's a really good stable of backs, and this offensive line, I don't think gets enough credit. They're big, experienced, athletic. They're asked to do a lot in this Garrett Riley offense. They've been fantastic this season.
Play action, under pressure is Duggan. He's got nowhere to go. The blitz from Jared Bartlett gets home. And is that a big negative play? Outside the 35-yard line, it's a 12-yard sack.
Well, there he is, and you're going to see the guard come around and try and block him off the edge. And the speed just to get around Steve Avila, coming around, trying to block, kick him out. Bartlett able to create a big play, and these are the situations where West Virginia has to be able to get off the field. TCU is a big screen team on 3rd and long. They're going to make you tackle in open space someplace, and that's an area that West Virginia has struggled with at times.
Davis in motion, 3rd down and long. Duggan fires one over the middle, and that is incomplete. Through the hands of Blake Knoll. Knoll took a shot. He's still down, slow to get up. And this may be a punting situation now for TCU. Let's see here. They're going to try a long field goal or send Jordy Sandy out to see if he can pin West Virginia deep. It looks like it will be the punt group that will come out. So a 12-yard sack knocks them out of field goal range. And Sandy hoping for the corner. And knocks it into the end zone on a fly. So West Virginia will have it for the first time when we come back. Perfect day to bring the kids out and watch some college football. West Virginia takes over for the first time, and JT Daniels at quarterback. Had terrific high school credentials, obviously, coming out of Mater Dei. Ends up as a true freshman starter for 11 games at USC in 2018, but 2019, a season-ending injury, ends up transferring to Georgia. Eventually, lost his job there to Stetson Bennett and transferred to West Virginia this past spring. So his third school, still only a redshirt junior. He's got C.J. Donaldson, a true freshman, in the backfield play action on first down. Here comes the blitz. Avoids a sack. Gets out of the pocket, shovels one to Donaldson, and he gets back to the line of scrimmage.
The talent with JT Daniels is evident, the arm talent, the consistency is what you're looking for. He's a guy that over the course of his college career has been looked at as a potential NFL pick, maybe even a potential first rounder, but he has to put together the consistency, and coming off his worst game in a West Virginia uniform, having thrown 3 interceptions a week ago, some of those not totally on him, but he's going to be looking for a bounce back performance.
Well, this time under center. And a bootleg out to the right. Easy pitch and catch to Traylon Davis. The tight end's got a first down.
How about Graham Hill going early in the game? It's something a little bit different. Play action boot. Gets it to Davis, and there's a late flag thrown in the secondary on the play.
We'll have to check the penalty marker.
After the play was over, personal foul, face mask. Defense number 26, 15-yard penalty, first down.
So Bud Clark picks up a face mask call. That will add another 15 to the end of the play and make it a 31-yard gain in all.
Watch the very end of this as Davis goes down. Grab of the face mask, and as Clark falls backward, rips the helmet off. Sonny Dykes not incredibly excited about that call, but it's clear that the refs made the right one.
Play action again. Wide open again. Sam James breaking tackles. Sam James down inside the 15-yard line. 36 more for West Virginia. Jamoy Hodge ran him out.
And how about this start, Bob, for West Virginia? Both of these defenses have struggled tackling, especially in the secondary at times, and Sam James is incredibly explosive with the ball in his hands. It's a great route combination, get 2 clear outs, and then James just splits a couple of defenders. It's poor tackling in the open field, and then the speed gets him down inside the 15-yard line. And West Virginia with a nice start on this drive.
First and 10 in the red zone. A little shovel pass to Caden Prather. Flag down. Knocked out at the 9. But it looks like this is going to go against the Mountaineers.
Holding, number 0, 10-yard penalty, repeat first down.
Let's check our impact players on the West Virginia offensive side of the ball.
We're going to start with the running back, C.J. Donaldson, the true freshman, with Tony Mathis out, a guy that had been playing really well. He's going to be asked to carry a big load. Had 125 yards on 7 carries in his first career game against Pitt. He's a really talented big back, and then defensively, Travius Hodges-Tomlinson, their best cover corner. He's going to be matched up against Bryce Ford-Wheaton a lot. He's excellent in run support as well, playing to the boundary.
The nephew of LT, LaDainian Tomlinson. They keep it away from him, though, and give it to Donaldson, who finds a crease to the 11-yard line. We got the penalty yardage back and more. Picked up 12. Josh Newton made the stop. So now it's second down just outside the 10-yard line.
Bob, we had a lot of talks with these coaches that come from the Mike Leach air raid tree about how important the run game is to them. Both of these teams want to run the ball as much, if not more, than they do pass the ball and find that balance. And it's been excellent when they've been able to get it going, powering their offenses.
And Mike Leach has his fingerprints all over this matchup in particular. As Donaldson gets to the 5. He's down inside the 2-yard line. It's first and goal. He took Nnamdi Obiazer for a piggyback ride. 240 pounds of C.J. Donaldson, tough to bring down.
Watch the two pullers, 54 Zach Frazier, 64 Wyatt Millam, just opening up the hole for Donaldson, who, as you said, incredibly difficult to tackle. A guy who they recruited sort of as an H-back, started working at running back, got really nice feet, great balance.
Can Donaldson finish it off at the goal line? Second effort, driven back. It'll be second down and goal inside the 1. Jamoy Hodge and Mark Perry sandwiched him before he got in.
Get a little bit of push on that offensive line, but it's a really nice job by Perry, who's outweighed by about 30 pounds by Donaldson, standing him up, pinning him against that pile, not letting him get in the end zone.
C.J. Donaldson has 3 100-yard games during this freshman season. Missed the Baylor game with a concussion. He'll try again. At the goal line, reaches the ball out. They'll say he's short. He was brought down at the 1-yard line, and it looked like after he was down, reached the ball out as Bud Clark made an ankle tackle.
I want you to watch when his rear end hits the ground. That ball not quite over yet. It's a good call by the officials. I'm with you, Bob. The backside hits first, and then he reaches out. If he reaches out earlier, it's probably good. It sets up a third and short, third and goal, and inside the 1.
Donaldson again. This time the push gets him home for a West Virginia touchdown.
Bob, I'm not sure Neil Brown could have drawn up a better start for his West Virginia team. And Donaldson just using the strength and the size to not go down and get the ball into the end zone. Force a third and long, get off the field, your offense drives down, gets a touchdown. Nice start.
And TCU in all too familiar territory, finding themselves down early as they surrender an 8-play, 80-yard touchdown drive. Chunk plays through the air to start, and C.J. Donaldson finishes it off on the ground.
ESPN College Football is presented by Marathon. Get the most out of your drive, and in part by Popeyes.
One of the great traditions of college football. It's homecoming weekend here in Morgantown. A perfect night last night for the parade, and a perfect day today at Mountaineer Field. Speaking of the Mountaineers, they've got the current Mountaineers and then all the older former Mountaineer mascots coming back for their homecoming as well. They had a mascot reunion on the field before the game. They've got their muskets, got the coonskin caps.
I don't know that I've ever seen that many coonskin caps in one place at the same time. It's a first for me.
And they've got a lot to cheer about. It was an impressive touchdown drive to begin. A flag thrown on the kickoff return by Darius Davis. He breaks free and spins out to the 27-yard line. Flag back. It looks like offside, most likely, on the kickoff by West Virginia, as it was thrown right at the 35-yard line.
Offside, kicking team number 6. That 5-yard penalty will be added to the dead ball spot. First down.
So it is a first down for TCU. Our first chance to check in with Matt Barrett.
Guys, good afternoon. Time now for your IHG Hotels and Resort Studio update. Going to check in on Syracuse and Notre Dame. Early action in this one. Brandon Joseph at the pick 6. This is the earliest defensive scored touchdown in any game all season. 7 seconds off the board, but Garrett Schrader comes back. Arundé Gadsden the touchdown. We are tied at 7 apiece at the Dome.
Here's Max Duggan breaking free on first down. An extra gear and finally tripped up. Flag down, back at the line of scrimmage.
Holding, offense number 18. 10-yard penalty, repeat first down.
The wide receiver, Savion Williams, called for a hold that will erase what would have been a 35 run by Duggan.
You're going to see him right there in the middle. It's actually 19 on the backside of the hold, and there's Savion Williams came in late with a hold on the front side as well. And it was a really good play, because even without the hold, they probably get 10 yards. It's a chunk play no matter what, and with Max Duggan's size and speed, he may break it and still have a long run. But Savion Williams, sort of a big receiver they like out in the slot to block. Toss him there. Penalties, sacks, negative plays will hurt TCU early in this one.
Only a 4-yard penalty net as it was downfield, spot foul. So 1st and 14, wide receiver screen to Quentin Johnson. He's looking to dodge tacklers, and he gets bang tackled. Chris Budden, you were keeping an eye on Quentin Johnston. He didn't look right on the sideline during that last flip of possession.
Yeah, he had his right ankle rolled up on. If you take a close look, you can see the extra tape put on there. Had to receive some treatment from the medical training staff. Was testing it. You could tell because he's running off right now, still wincing in pain.
That would be a major weapon to be lost in this game if Quentin Johnston can't go. And it looks like he just gave it a try, and that is not a good sign for TCU.
No, it's not. By far the guy they target the most. 60 targets on the season coming into this game. Next closest was 31, and wide receiver 1 right now looks to be banged up.
Duggan, he's going to look for the long ball, drops it in behind the defense to Tay Barber. House call, touchdown. Just when you thought the Horned Frogs would be in trouble without Johnston, Tay Barber goes 71 yards, and TCU an extra point away from the early tie.
What a big play for TCU in the pass game. Finding a mismatch, getting Barber up the seam, and I mean, it just absolutely deflated this stadium.
Griffin Kell ties it. Tay Barber's 3rd touchdown reception of the season and the 20th thrown this year by Max Duggan. And they are a big play offense.
And it's because they're dangerous in so many different positions. Tay Barber gets matched up one-on-one with the middle linebacker, Lee Koba. It's a foot race to the end zone. And Tay Barber, with the throw from Max Duggan, ties it up at 7.
Welcome back to ESPN College Football, presented by Marathon. If you're still out there at your tailgate here at Mountaineer Field, you've missed a lot already. Some major early momentum swings, tied at 7. And now it's back to the offense for West Virginia. Jeremiah Aaron. Kick return out to the 25-yard line, back to Matt Barry.
Bobby, we've got some action in this noon window. Upper left, SEC Network, Arkansas, Auburn, ABC, Notre Dame, Syracuse tied at 7 apiece. South Florida, Houston on ESPN2. And Roddy's Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets scooped at an opportunity for a 99-yard touchdown to score. Got tackled, settled for a field goal, up 3-0 on Florida State on ACC Network.
Ramblin' Wreck off to a good early start against FSU.
It's a beautiful day. The Wrecker up. Let's go. Come on, Jackets.
How long does that score stay 3-0?
Not long enough for me to enjoy it, Bob. Let's not jump ahead of ourselves.
Can we have Matt Barry ready for another Georgia Tech Florida State update? I'm imagining soon. Daniels out of the pocket on 1st down. Tucks it under. Pays a bit of a price and gets shoved out after a gain of 3. Travius Hodges-Tomlinson was there to make the stop. 2nd down and 7.
JT Daniels' mobility, I think, is one of the more underrated parts of his game. You get a look at Max Duggan, who they've been working on the sideline. Got a little banged, or got a little scraped up. They had to tend to that. They had the massage gun out there. Keep an eye on the legs of Max Duggan, because they're going to be big for TCU on offense.
Jay Donaldson following his blockers to the sideline and has a 1st down. Flag down. Did he take a late hit out of bounds? It looked like D. Winters came over and hit him late. If so, It looked like D. Winters delivered a late hit and took the worst of the contact.
He certainly did. I actually thought he kind of tried to pull up at the end.
There is no foul on the play. Second down.
And maybe the officials, after talking to one another, thought the same.
He definitely makes contact with C.J. Donaldson while he's out of bounds. I don't know that he pulled up as much as I thought he did. I think the size of C.J. Donaldson plays into it. I always feel like for those big guys, if they end up hitting the ground, they might get the call, but I can see why West Virginia fans would be upset.
JT Daniels, after the first down run, jerks off a sack, throws one across his body, and he's got a gain of 7 to Caden Prather. Well, Jaden Daniels, you talk about a roller coaster ride of an early college career. He goes to USC and is a starter during what should have been his senior year of high school, right? Reclassified and got there early and ends up starting about as young as you could start in college football. Heads to Georgia and then lost his job to Stetson Bennett. So 27th career start at his third different school. There goes Donaldson, breaking free. C.J. Donaldson tripped up in the red zone. Josh Newton saved the touchdown.
You're going to get a couple of pullers coming around the block, but watch the block on the outside by the receiver. They do a great job of not only setting the edge there, but also setting the edge on the perimeter. And then C.J. Donaldson, when he gets into the open field, shows you that he's got some speed for a big man.
He'll take it again, and it's a reverse. Flipped to Sam James, making men miss. Down to the 5-yard line before he's bumped out of bounds. 14 more on the reverse to Sam James, and it's first and goal.
This TCU defense has had a tough time tackling Sam James in space. Again, out there on the perimeter, great block thrown. West Virginia's had a ton of success getting out on the edges.
See if it stands up. There's a flag down.
Holding. Offense number 64. 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
So the officials wipe away the gain that would have made it first and goal. That'll put the ball all the way back out to the 28-yard line, it looks like.
Well, Wyatt Milam shoves the defender inside, and that good block, yeah, it's certainly a hold when you got the arm wrapped around on one side and then gripping him on the other. Brings back a big play, and that's one of those linemen that get out in space with the smaller guys tend to panic a little bit. The technique goes away. All we really needed was a kick-out block, and it'd have been good to go.
So now it's first down out to the 28-yard line. First and 19. Screen set up. Bryce Ford Wheaton. Inside the 15-yard line. Hodges Tomlinson bumped him out at the 13.
This offensive line's missing a couple of starters. You got Doug Nestor on one side, James Gamitter on the other. Out, and they've still done a nice job.
Reese Smith down to the 6-yard line. That looks to be good enough for a first down. It's first and goal. And despite the penalty, they're right back where they were a moment ago. First and goal to go at the 6.
And again, it's success on the perimeter, whether it's the receivers or the offensive linemen blocking. That's where they've had it.
Justin Johnson breaking tackles. Finally turned down at the 5-yard line. Josh Foster finished him off. And remember, they are worried over on the sideline about Quentin Johnston and whether or not he'll be able to get back in the game for TCU.
I think the big thing for West Virginia is they've been able to keep Quentin Johnston and this TCU offense off the field with a couple of long drives. That's sort of the recipe for success for this West Virginia offense, being able to sustain drives and keep Max Duggan and crew on the sideline.
Well, they could make this the last play of the opening quarter if they choose. See when they snap the ball. Donaldson bulldozes his way to the goal line. He is short. And that will take us to the end of the quarter. It'll be third down and goal for West Virginia at the 1-yard line when we open the second quarter, tied at 7.
Justin Johnson, plunges towards the end zone. Looks like he's just short as we go to the quarter number 2.
Our Saturday night football game presented by Capital One in the Big House. Jim Harbaugh's 4th-ranked Wolverines host the Spartans, the 115th battle for the Paul Bunyan Trophy at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific on ABC, as well as the ESPN app. We start the second quarter. 3rd down and goal for West Virginia. They'll give it to Donaldson. He gets hit. Second effort. Is he in? No signal yet. The officials running in from each side. West Virginia thinks he has scored. TCU thinks they held him out. Now it's ruled a touchdown. The second rushing touchdown already for C.J. Donaldson. And that was about as delayed a call as there could be.
It's great strength, though, by C.J. Donaldson. Actually thought they did a pretty good job of creating some penetration. The question is, when does that right knee go down? Looked like from that view, he kept it off the ground. But you got to look through the bodies. And there is a point before he hits the ground with his chest and his shoulders that the knee goes down. The question is, where's the ball when that happens?
And would you, on any of the replays that you're going to be able to see in that mosh pit of bodies, ever see the football?
And C.J. Donaldson's back turns towards the side where our camera is from the angle that we just saw. Dylan Horton on the front side for TCU does a nice job of creating some penetration to force Donaldson back. And then where is the ball when that knee hits? And on that one, it's hard to tell when the knee hits as well, Bob. It's so hard to tell when that knee is down from either of those two angles.
And now the reverse side, right down the goal line. But again, you have to see his knee hit, and you have to have clear vision of the football that it's short of the goal line. And right now, I mean, he just gets lost in a sea of bodies.
Yeah, and the replay officials can sync up a few of these looks.
Yeah, the replay booth has already sent word to the field that there is no clear view to really even stop the game to take a look at whether or not Donaldson broke the plane. So the touchdown call stands. Leg puts the extra point through, and West Virginia takes the lead again at 14-7. In the next couple of days, we'll have a pair of Week 8 NFL games for you. It starts with ESPN's first ever game in London tomorrow morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern, exclusively on ESPN Plus. Broncos, Jaguars at Wembley Stadium. Head to ESPNplus.com/NFL to watch that one. And then Monday Night Football in Cleveland on Halloween night. The Browns host Joe Burrow and the Bengals at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on ESPN, ESPN Deportes. With Peyton and Eli once again on ESPN2. Myles Garrett, he's got a quarterback graveyard apparently in his front yard. Burrow's a part of it. We'll see if he stays in that graveyard on Monday night.
It's a graveyard that nobody wants to be a part of. You've been taken down by Myles Garrett. Did that guy take your Halloween costume, Bob, there in the middle?
Oh yeah, I'm going to be William Wallace for Halloween, absolutely.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I will spare the world a view of me in a kilt.
The world would love that.
Darius Davis tracks this one to the corner, and it's going to take a bounce out of the side of the end zone for a touchback as we took a look at today's road test, brought to you by Goodyear. And well, now this truly is a road test if Quentin Johnston and that injured ankle proves to be a factor all afternoon, as they threw a wide receiver screen to him on the next series, Roddy, and he came to the sideline as if to say, guys, I don't know that I can continue if my ankle feels like this.
Did you see him working it out? He's running back on the field right now. This is a guy that they talk about as one of the hardest workers on the team, has worked himself to being in consideration at the top of draft boards at the receiver position. We'll keep an eye on how he's able to accelerate and change directions. Those are big parts of his game.
Todd McShay has him right now as his number 5 receiver is Kendre Miller. Turns the corner, another flag is down as he is dragged out of bounds. But again, we'll have to check the penalty marker after a would-be 16-yard game.
Offense number 74, 10-yard penalty, first down.
It's another holding penalty that wipes away a run. Down to Chris.
Bob Johnston spent about 5 minutes in the medical training tent getting some treatment. You can see that he has got a lot more of the tape around the right ankle all the way up through the calf. He was testing it on the sidelines. Could tell was still in some pain, but he's going to battle through it.
And to be honest, Bob, when you have an ankle injury like that, the change of direction sometimes the hardest part. Once you get moving in a straight line, that you can do on an ankle that's been a little twisted up. So you may see more straight vertical routes in the screens and stuff.
They set the screen up. It goes nowhere. Kendre Miller dragged down by Jordan Jefferson. Let's check in with Matt Barrett.
All right, I got your AT&T 5G studio update. We have a college kicker situation between Oklahoma and Iowa State. That one, fake field goal, Zach Schmidt. Hey, kickers are athletes too. 10-3 Sooners.
It's debatable on the kickers are athletes.
That was Dante Stills, pardon me, with that last tackle as he was all over the would-be screen, 2nd and 22. Four-man rush. Duggan from a clean pocket rifles a shot back up to the original line of scrimmage to Savion Williams to make it 3rd down and 10.
It's a great job of Max Duggan hanging out in the pocket and cutting it in half. You were in 2nd and long, now you're in a 3rd, still 3rd and long, but certainly much more manageable. You're able to get it down to 10 yards. You can design some plays for this, and they put Quentin Johnston by himself. Garrett Riley's putting Quentin Johnston by himself to the bottom. Now they're getting a motion over to try and get a tell on the coverage on the back end for West Virginia.
Only a 3-man rush. First down, catch is made. Boy, that was perfect delivery from Max Duggan. He hit Tay Barber earlier for a big touchdown, and now a big 3rd down conversion.
And it's just really soft coverage for a drop 8 situation. It's an easy pitch and catch for Tay Barber. He just pushes up the field, a deep out. You get a clear out on the outside. That's way too easy on 3rd and 10 for TCU.
Counter handoff. And that looks to go for about 7 yards. As Kendre Miller pushes the pile to the 45-yard line. Marcus Floyd made the tackle.
Kind of feeling like one of those games, Bob, that you can't miss your serve. Both of these teams have been able to move the football. And these defenses have had a tough time for the majority of the season stopping people consistently. They've had it in stretches and spurts. But it feels like it's going to be an offensive shootout. A good old-fashioned Big 12 game.
Play action. Duggan, again, all kinds of time. Floats one and drops it into Johnston. He's gone. Touchdown. From the medical tent to the end zone for Quentin Johnston.
Johnston's just going to run the deep over route, and he's going to get matched up right here with number 13, Hershey McLaurin. There's going to be a little bit of contact, but Johnston fights through it. McLaurin hits the ground, and then there's absolutely nobody after that. A nice little shield block down the field by Darius Davis, but it's great design by Garrett Riley, who's now schemed up a couple of times these receivers on either linebackers or safeties, and TCU, the explosive play.
Quentin Johnston's 4th touchdown catch in as many games, 55 yards. Sonny Dykes' team with another answer. They fell behind 7-0. They answered with a deep shot to Tay Barber. They fell behind 14-7. And it's Max Duggan to Quentin Johnston again for the equalizer. Back here at Mountaineer Field, may have been a slow start to the season for Quentin Johnston, but Roddy, he has been every bit the go-to big play wide receiver that TCU would hope for the last 4 games.
And on the touchdown catch, you saw the strength to get through contact and the speed to finish.
Another update with Matt Barry.
Some offense for Penn State, down 10-0 to Ohio State. Granted, a couple missed tackles. Either way, Parker Washington does the rest, gets a block downfield. 58 yards later, Nittany Lions on the board, 10-7 down to Ohio State.
So a big play in the Ohio State-Penn State game. It feels like in our game so far, that's all we've had. 368 yards of total offense. And we haven't even played 3.5 full minutes of the second quarter yet. Now it's JT Daniels' turn. Justin Johnson falls forward for 2.5.
You're going to start to see TCU, especially in the secondary, creep closer and closer to the line of scrimmage on early downs because of West Virginia's success running the football. And then JT Daniels is going to have to make some plays down the field, but I like the approach early on from Graham Harrell. Run the football, get some easier completions, make TCU tackle in space, and really bleed the clock on these drives.
Justin Johnson again. Finds a cutback lane. He's got a first down. We're expecting it'll be Johnson and C.J. Donaldson as the 1-2 punch today. At running back, Tony Mathis with an elbow injury is out today. So he and Donaldson were really the 1-2 punch at running back as Tony Mathis leads the Mountaineers in carries this season, but he is down today.
And it's been good to, Tony Mathis, first of all, was playing really well. It's been good to see Justin Johnson, though, who was questionable coming into today. Looks pretty good.
Swing pass out to Reese Smith. Makes a man miss. Dodging tacklers, gets all the way down inside the 45 to the TCU 40-yard line before he's bumped out. They'll rule him out at the 39. It looks like we have a flag down.
Again, it's an easy throw. And then you're asking TCU to tackle in space. Abe Kamara can't do it. You get some pursuit from the inside. Another broken tackle from D. Winters, and looks like this one's going to come back a little bit.
Downfield. Offense number 63. 5-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
Well, West Virginia's without a couple of starters at guard today on the offensive line. And so that depth being tested, and you get a man downfield penalty.
I think it was either 64 Wyatt Millum or 53 Jordan White. The starters out there for West Virginia. Nonetheless, I mean, you've kind of seen the recipe here for West Virginia. Run the football, get the ball out quick, make TCU tackle you in the open field. Brown a little fired up, though.
Smith makes another catch. This time can't break a tackle. And he is out of bounds, 8 yards shy of the first down. Kamara made the stop, so it's now 2nd down and 8.
It's worth mentioning in that TCU secondary, Millard Bradford, their starting nickel, one of their best players, has been banged up. He's available in emergency situations only, so there's been some shuffling in that secondary as well that JT Daniels has taken advantage of.
Johnson bounces it outside. Uses a stiff arm and gets run out at the 42-yard line. 3.5 yards shy of a first down by Josh Foster. So it will be 3rd down and a long 3, close to 4 for West Virginia.
And now if you're TCU, I think the man coverage comes out. They're going to take away those short throws. So West Virginia, and probably heat up the pocket. So if you're West Virginia, what do you have to beat man-to-man coverage? What do you have to get JT Daniels protected and then find something down the field? Is they're going to go empty and try and create a little pick to the bottom?
There goes Garrett Green, who is a backup quarterback. Takes a swing pass, makes a man miss, has the first down. So JT Daniels stays perfect. He hasn't missed yet. And now he throws a swing pass to his fellow quarterback. And Garrett Green is across the 50-yard line.
Talk about a wrinkle. You bring the backup quarterback in, you throw the swing pass. Abe Kamara actually does a pretty good job of shooting through, but misses the tackle. JT Daniels happy with what he sees down the field. And another first down conversion, another 3rd down conversion for this West Virginia offense.
Play action. Daniels steps up in the pocket. He wants the deep ball, but his receiver got tripped up. Let's see if a flag comes out. Caden Prather is looking for a flag. Neil Brown, the head coach, all the way downfield, complaining as well. Morgantown not happy collectively as no flag is thrown. That's JT Daniels' first incompletion.
I think you actually could have gotten a hold on the back end of that. Their feet kind of get caught up, but watch Josh Newton. You see the tug on the back. A hold should have been called there. I'm not sure it caused the trip, but it's certainly an infraction. This West Virginia crowd was all over it.
Yeah, if that ball's in the air, that's pass interference. Johnson. Tough to bring down. Jitterbugs for 4. West Virginia's 3 for 3 on third down, facing another one here, 3rd down and 6.
I love those little moves by running backs in the hole. Put a guy in the matrix by just a little what's happening, a little inside outside. Able to get up in there and make something out of nothing.
Garrett Green is back on the field in the slot left. So the backup quarterback. You always have to have your antennas up that maybe a trick play could come out as well if you got a backup quarterback playing slot receiver.
Looks like TCU's going to bring pressure.
Flags down. It's going to be a false start.
False start. Offense number 13. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
After literally fighting for his motherland, Ukraine, former 3-division world champ Vasily Lomachenko is back and looking for a title fight. But first he has to get past Jermaine Ortiz. It's 12 rounds of top-ranked boxing lightweight main event action tonight, exclusively on ESPN Plus. Coverage from the theater at Madison Square Garden begins at 5:30 Eastern, 2:30 Pacific. The main card at 10 Eastern. Daniels. Pressure coming from the backside, and the ball comes out wobbly as he was hit. Daniels running downfield. He thinks that's a fumble. It gets scooped up by Hodges Tomlinson. And let's see if the officials rule this. Hodges Tomlinson came and knocked the ball away from Daniels, and they will rule this a fumble. Lual Uguak picked up the loose ball and ran to midfield. All of the other players for West Virginia stopped, but Daniels, I think, knew this may have been a fumble.
It looks like his arm starts to go forward as it's hit by Hodges Tomlinson. Question is, when does that ball come out of the hand? Let's see if we can get a look at this one. That is as close as it gets, because I'm not sure the ball starts to move forward before the hand comes out, because as the hand comes through, it's certainly empty. I think it's a good job by the officials of letting it go and then cleaning it up on the back end. From the 2 looks that we just saw, though, Bob, I think at best it stands, but
he has to have firm control of the football as his hand starts to come forward. And the moment that his hand starts to come forward, if he's got control of the ball, it's an incomplete pass. But if that ball's coming out,
further review, the ruling on the field was a fumble recovered by the defense.
And they have now ruled this, as we said, a fumble on the field. We'll see what the replay booth has to say about it when we come back. A replay is weighed in, and it is a TCU takeaway. Hodges Tomlinson knocks it out. Uguak recovers. It is a fumble for JT Daniels.
You're going to see Hodges Tomlinson come in and knock the ball out. And you said it, Bob. You have to have firm control when the hand starts to move forward. And he certainly does not have that. And then watch Justin Johnson, the running back. Hodges Tomlinson comes off the edge. He runs right by Hodges Tomlinson. The running back does. He thinks about going and taking him, ends up not, and that's what causes the takeaway. So some confusion there, and then on the back end, you pointed this out, Bob. The only guy running for the football, 98, Dylan Horton. Good for him, playing until the whistle.
So it's 1st and 10 near midfield for TCU. Max Duggan gives to Kendre Miller. Right up the gut goes Miller. He's gone. Touchdown. 51 yards. One snap after the takeaway. Kendre Miller guts the West Virginia defense. I'm not sure he was touched.
I think Max Duggan may have touched him as he was handing the football off and then patted him on the back and sent him on his way. The definition of hitting your head on the goalpost. A great job by the offensive line, parting the Red Sea for him to run through.
All 3 touchdowns for TCU, at least 51 yards. 2 through the air, 1 on the ground. As Kendre Miller's got his 11th rushing touchdown of the season. He's got a rushing touchdown in every game, 9 in a row, in fact, dating back now to last year.
And it's been the big plays today for TCU. They force a takeaway on one side. Kendre Miller hits his head on the goalpost.
ESPN College Football, presented by Marathon, is brought to you by Goodyear. Discover the possibilities. Goodyear, more driven.
Quentin Johnston, first team All Big 12 last season, on the Bolitnikoff watch list this season, and with good reason. Another big play touchdown as Aaron brings it out for West Virginia. And doesn't even make it past the 11-yard line. Back to Matt Barry.
Developing situation in Happy Valley. It was 10-0. Now Penn State, Keandre Lambert-Smith wide open across the middle of the field. Penn State has grabbed the lead on the Buckeyes, 14-10.
Bob, there were some questions coming into this game. How good is Ohio State on defense? Statistically vastly improved, but level of competition had not been that high. Penn State getting after him.
And West Virginia hustles up to the line, possibly trying to quick snap it here. And they do. Little jet sweep action to Sam James. And he is met by Kamara. Picked up 3 yards.
A bit of a different look from West Virginia. And you when you turn the ball over like that and you get the ball right back, they've had a lot of success. All they have to keep doing is exactly what they've been doing, establishing the run on early downs and hitting the plays in the short passing game and making guys miss. But TCU so good in the turnover margin, from a turnover margin standpoint.
Daniels spins out down the sideline, underthrows Bryce Ford Wheaton. He was open, and JT Daniels missed him. Now it's 3rd and 7.
Ford Wheaton was on the orbit motion and then just ran a wheel up the sideline. JT Daniels just missed him. I think he was trying to throttle him down a little bit so he didn't throw him into the corner, but and that should have been a big play for West Virginia. Now it's going to set up a 3rd and long.
Contact made. Time on Mitchell jumped offside, and now he immediately goes to the sideline in shame. He's going to go over there and try and hide while they announce his number.
He's 315 pounds. It's tough to hide, big fella.
He ran right through the team.
Offside. Defense number 91 with contact. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
It's still short of the 1st down. It's still 3rd down and 2. But Tymon Mitchell ran right through his teammates, right behind the bench.
Let me get away from Coach Dykes real quick.
Where can a 315-pound guy hide that the coaches can't see him?
It's a cardinal sin when the nose tackle who's looking at the football right over it jumps offside.
He knew it. A run for Donaldson. Very close. It looks like he just squeezed the ball to the line to gain. And it looks like the officials are going to say without measurement that yes, indeed, it is a Mountaineers 1st down.
It's so frustrating for TCU because you have West Virginia in 3rd and long. They created 3rd and short, just hand it off inside. These running backs have really done a nice job behind this offensive line, finding space both inside and then getting out on the perimeter. But that time, Donaldson just finds a little bit of space and gets the 1st down.
Tunnel screen. Prather bottled up and tripped up. Picked up a couple. Dominic Williams was there to help on the stop.
Both of these teams really like the screen game, and in order to stop a screen, the linemen have to feel it. You've got to feel that you've been released too soon and then follow those offensive linemen. Williams who just came in to replace Tymon Mitchell, felt it that time and made a nice play.
Shot down the sideline, but stopping his route was Cortez Spraham. And Daniels well overshot him. Kamara was there in coverage, but that looked like miscommunication between quarterback and receiver.
It was, because JT Daniels is looking at the corner and thinking, all right, Braham's going to take it vertical, but the safety comes over the top. Braham reads the safety and kind of throttles it in the zone between the two. A couple of times we've seen some miscommunication setting up 3rd and longs.
West Virginia 4 for 5 on 3rd down. Here comes a blitz. Daniels, same shot play. This time it is caught. Bryce Ford Wheaton climbs the ladder, makes a terrific contested catch for a West Virginia 1st down.
Graham Harrell talked to us yesterday about the importance of their big receivers playing big. Ford Wheaton's one-on-one with Keon Stewart down the field. JT Daniels puts the ball up, gives his receiver a chance, and the 6'3" Ford Wheaton comes down with it.
Sam James wrestled out of bounds after picking up 6 on 1st down. Another stop for Abe Kamara, but with 4:10 to go in the opening half, what a big 3rd down conversion to keep the drive alive. A chunk play for West Virginia.
It was huge, and a couple of the interceptions that JT Daniels threw a week ago were on balls like that, down the field, where his receivers either have to help him by knocking the ball down or coming down with it. Bryce Ford Wheaton paid off his quarterback's confidence there.
Donaldson, tough to bring down. Very close to a 1st down. Dominic Williams was there on the stop. C.J. Donaldson was not a running back, at least in the minds of West Virginia when they first brought him here. He was brought here as a tight end. We talked to Graham Harrell, the play caller, of course. He said, really, in high school, we looked at him as an overweight receiver. But then when he came here,
during scouting report,
came here at 240 pounds, we started to give him the football, and we really haven't stopped because he gets the ball in his hands, and he has become a heck of a running back. Another screen, dropped. Sam James could not hold on. It'll be 2nd down and 10. And Graham Harrell told us C.J. Donaldson, we knew he was a good athlete, but I think it's a testament not only to Graham Harrell but also to Neil Brown, the offensive coaching staff, to think outside the box, right? Take a player and put him in a spot where you're trying to accentuate his best traits, even if it's a position he's never really played before.
And the change of rules this year with the NCAA allowing coaches to do some individual drills with players allowed him time in the summer with Chad Scott, the running backs coach, and you've seen the development.
Here he goes again. Inside the 30-yard line, down to the 29. So it's going to be 3rd down once again, and 6 for West Virginia. And is that Donaldson that's down and hurt? So we'll step aside as the training staff looks at C.J. Donaldson.
Coming up on the Lexus halftime report, Ohio State, Penn State, back and forth. Buckeyes finally getting tested. Plus Syracuse and Notre Dame locked into a tight one of the first half. For the Big 12 audience, Oklahoma, fake field goal has them over Iowa State. Dan Mullen, Joey Galloway, join me coming up on the Lexus halftime report.
Well, Matt, we've got a tight one here. West Virginia now without C.J. Donaldson to go along with no Tony Mathis. So they're without their top 2 running backs. That's Justin Johnson to the left of J.T. Daniels. Crucial 3rd down after the injury timeout with the clock rolling. Daniels sings one to the sideline, coming back to make the catch, Prather. And he's down to about the 12-yard line before he's brought down. Another 3rd down conversion, a gain of 17 for West Virginia. They are 6 for 7 on 3rd down.
And Caden Prather, look at the physicality at the top of the route. Just shoves Josh Foster off to create that separation. That's a big receiver playing big. Prather, 6'4", uses his body to push the defender off, create separation, give JT Daniels an easy throw. And they almost seem unstoppable on third downs at this point. And I like them slowing the pace down. Try and make this the last possession of the first half. Give TCU as little time as possible to have the ball back.
We'll see if TCU uses any of their timeouts. Swing pass to Garrett Green. And he's bumped out of bounds inside the 10-yard line.
And the ball was snapped before 2 minutes hit the clock. So the clock's going to start once they set the ball after him going out of bounds. They haven't cranked it up yet.
Well, it stays stopped inside of 2 with the 13th play of this drive coming here on 2nd down and 6. Also no Hodges Tomlinson on the field right now for that TCU defense. TCU shows blitz. They'll run right behind it. Johnson got to the 5-yard line. And now I would think if you're TCU, you should use a timeout.
Yeah, I agree.
Save some time for your offense. And that is what Sonny Dykes will do.
Especially because you got the clock stopped. Again, looked to me like he went out of bounds a little bit earlier to get the conference spotlight.
And it is the Big 12 Spotlight brought to you by T-Mobile. 3 Big 12 teams ranked, of course, led by undefeated TCU at number 7. How about Spencer Sanders going for his 12th win against a ranked team that would tie Joe Burrow for the most of any quarterback over the last 5 years? And good game between Oklahoma State and Kansas State later on this afternoon as well.
The Big 12 is as exciting a conference as there is in the country. You get a team, you look at the standings, and Iowa State's at the bottom of the Big 12 standings, and you look at their games, and they've been so close in every single one. And we said it earlier, but from a talent standpoint, the disparity in this league is not as wide as it is in some of the others. You don't have an Ohio State, a Michigan, and then everybody, and a Penn State, and then everybody else, or a Clemson, and then everybody else. Everybody in the Big 12 right there together.
So Travius Hodges Tomlinson, best defensive back for TCU, on the sideline. They're working on his calf. Here's a big 3rd down again. Justin Johnson. Short. TCU is forced 4th down. Popping out of the pile with the football is Mark Perry, but it looked as if the officials had ruled Justin Johnson down. So Neil Brown now with a decision to make. You'd certainly think TCU would be wise to call another timeout here, but the officials get together and talk about, looks like, the outcome of that last play.
Rolling on the field that the runner was down. 4th down. Timeout, TCU.
So there is the TCU timeout, and it makes it 4th down and about 1.5 yards. Well, this season, Allstate will celebrate every field goal and extra point made by participating universities by making a donation to the university's General Scholarship Fund. Thank you to Allstate. And we were talking, Roddy, a moment ago about if you're Neil Brown, how you approach this game strategically. This is a chip shot field goal, 4th down and about 1.5 yards. But do you come into this game realistic about your defense, saying threes probably don't help me against TCU? Even if it's still early in the game, in the first half, are you going for it on 4th down because you feel like you have to have 7s when you're within striking distance?
In this situation, I am. Again, because as you said, when you're in striking distance, you got to have 7s. The other part of it is if you get the 1st down, you have an opportunity now to either pull another timeout or to drain more clock. And if you give the ball back to TCU, yes, you're in a situation where you may go into halftime down 2 scores, but you're here to win the football game, so I would go for it in this situation.
And it looks like they will put their offense back on the field to go for it on 4th down and close to 2.
They've been excellent on 4th downs, converting 13 of 18 this season.
They don't have C.J. Donaldson, that big hammer looking for a nail running back. It is Justin Johnson. Prather in motion. Daniels. He'll roll out and throw. To the goal line, he's got a touchdown. They go for it on 4th down, and they score, and it's Justin Johnson. who was wide open.
It's a really nice play design by Graham Harrell. It's almost like a two-point conversion play that they roll out on a 4th and short. Frees up Justin Johnson. And Neil Brown going for it on 4th down pays off.
Graham Harrell dials up a 15-play touchdown drive. And we're deadlocked at 21.
Mentioned the play design by Graham Harrell. You're going to get double slants from the outside, and then from the backside, Justin Johnson's just going to come out, and you're going to get a natural pick, a natural wall for him against those defenders. So you can see right here, this is the only guy that has a shot at Justin Johnson. He's going the opposite direction. Johnson gets some leverage and gets him in the end zone. It's a really nice play design that you see a lot when you're down close to the goal line, when you need a two-point conversion, and having the back-to-the-back side confuses the defense when he comes across the formation on who picks him up. There's nobody for TCU out there to get him, and West Virginia ties the game up. And now if you can get a defensive stop, you get the ball first in the second half. So Neil Brown's defense going to be looking to come up big.
Happy Halloween.
Whoa.
Didn't mean to take you by surprise there. We are tied at 21. Now using those timeouts, Sonny Dykes did preserve a lot of time for his offense. 1:35 on the clock, and they still have a timeout. And they have a very dangerous return man from the 6-yard line, Darius Davis. Good job, kick coverage for West Virginia to bring him down at the 27-yard line. Big 12 now on ESPN Plus, a must-have for Big 12 fans. Every Wednesday, Chucky Kemp and Harold Kuntz have the Big 12 Football Weekly show that breaks down this Saturday's games and previews the upcoming week. One of those games will be these Mountaineers in Ames taking on the Cyclones. Coverage begins at 3:30 Eastern, 2:30 Central. So again, join Chucky Kemp, Harold Kuntz for the Big 12 Football Weekly show. If you're a Big 12 fan, you got to have it. Sign up now. ESPNplus.com/Big 12 now. Screen pass on first down. Tay Barber. And that'll keep the clock rolling. A 2-yard gain as we check in with Chris.
Yeah, West Virginia defensive coaches trying to keep them from having a meltdown. There was a lot of chirping after that last possession, finger pointing. Said just because we don't do things right doesn't mean you guys have to freak out.
Well, they give up another one to Barber for a first down. That'll stop the clock with 1:05 to go in the half, and TCU still has that one timeout.
You'd imagine West Virginia going to go with a lot of coverage here until TCU gets a little bit closer, playing 3 safeties deep right now. So there's going to be those holes underneath for Max Duggan.
Duggan faked the screen, batted ball, and it falls incomplete.
It's a nice job of West Virginia knowing they're not going to get to the quarterback. So you get close enough, does Jordan Jefferson, to get that big mid up in the air, bat the ball down. But because of those 3 safeties and the corner squatting, it almost operates like cover 2 behind the corner and then that little hole in front of the safety.
8 straight completions for Duggan before that batted ball. So he's been hot. Well protected here. Up the seam, low throw, bats up in the air, and off the carom, it hit the ground. The crowd thought it may have been an interception, but it is ruled incomplete. Hershey McLaurin got a hand on it.
Good break by Hershey McLaurin. As it goes, straight down to the ground, up in the air. Although you could get a little bit better sales job on the back end of that. By Naeem Muhammad.
So now it's 3rd down and 10. Only the 4th 3rd down that TCU has faced here in the first half. They're 2 for 3.
I've not seen a lot of Max Duggan's legs since that first drive. Neil Brown takes a timeout.
He's going to call a timeout on defense.
Timeout. West Virginia. 30-second timeout.
Well, you knew this was going to be a tough place for Sonny Dykes' team to play. Mountaineer Field, and Morgantown always is. Bob Shoes and Roddy Jones and Chris Budden here in Morgantown. But they seem so comfortable, no matter what the score is, evidenced by the fact that they've come from at least 17 down the last 2 weeks in a row.
They do feel comfortable in this one. They played from ahead some. They've been able to create some big plays. But this is a mature team. It's a lot of the same guys have been playing for a number of years for TCU. And Sonny Dykes talked about the confidence that they have in every situation. They'll need to call on that confidence here.
Tay Barber in motion before 3rd down and 10. 3-man rush. Duggan, hole shot, squeezes it in. Darius Davis. The reception down to the 30-yard line for a gain of 28, and it stops the clock. 42 seconds to go in the half.
That is a big league throw by Max Duggan.
He's looking deep, directing traffic, and he's just going to hoist this one to the sideline and throw it into the stands. But that pass 2 plays ago from Duggan is worth another look.
Look at his eyes, scanning to the right, coming back to his left, in front of the safety right before the underneath defender gets there. And Darius Davis, the concentration to hang on to it. That's a heck of a football play in a 1-minute situation where you're trying to get a score before the half. TCU still has that timeout. They've done a great job of operating, so they haven't had to use it.
They're already in field goal range. And they'll run it here with Amani Bailey. And Bailey breaking tackles. Touchdown. Amani Bailey. Rifle shot to the end zone. And TCU has the lead.
How about Garrett Riley? Having that timeout, you know you can hit a run play, and even if you get tackled before the first down marker, you can call a timeout and preserve some of that time. But on the upside, you get blocks down the field, which they got from Wes Harris especially. Maybe you get in the end zone, and how about TCU?
Imani Bailey's first touch of the first half is a 30-yard touchdown run.
Because there's only 3 linemen, they're planning on rushing 3, and those defenders are played off, it almost gives the offensive line free runs at the 2nd and 3rd level. And Wes Harris does a nice job of getting up to the 2nd level, and Imani Bailey just finishes it. But Garrett Riley called the run game their get-out-of-jail-free card. Well, I would consider that rolling go straight to boardwalk and being able to purchase it rather than just get out of jail free. That's Park Place type stuff.
We're on our way, if form holds, to close to 1,300 yards of total offense. That's 624 yards of offense in the first half. And by the way, West Virginia still has a timeout.
How big does that timeout that Neil Brown called on 3rd down become now, though? You'd love to be in this situation with a couple of them, but West Virginia's going to have an opportunity here if they want it to be aggressive, maybe sneak a field goal before halftime.
We have not seen a punter since the early part of the game.
I'm not sure we will.
Aaron on the return. Shy of the 20-yard line. The Saturday night football game presented by Capital One will be in the Big House. Jim Harbaugh and Michigan taking on cross-state rival Michigan State. The 115th meeting for the Paul Bunyan Trophy at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific on ABC, as well as the ESPN app. Both teams coming off bye weeks. And Michigan, the 10th highest scoring offense in the nation at 42 per game.
They don't do it like a lot of other teams do. They just bludgeon you with the run game. They got an incredible stable of backs. That offensive line has been fantastic.
JT Daniels looking downfield. Incomplete. Sagging back in coverage was Johnny Hodges to get a hand on that pass intended for Sam James. So 13 seconds to go in the half. West Virginia still with a timeout.
Curious on how aggressive West Virginia is here. With that timeout, you can get something past the first down marker. Maybe you can run up and spike it or use the timeout. Get in position, heave one to the end zone.
Now they're going to see if they can pop a run with Johnson. As he gets to the sideline and is brought down after a gain of 8. Do they bother to call the timeout? Or since they start the third quarter with the ball, just go to the locker room. And that is what they will do. They'll take this game to the half. A touchdown lead for TCU at the break. Time for the halftime report. Back to the studio and Matt Barrett.
Bob Wischusen, thank you so much as we welcome you into the Lexus Halftime Report. First halftime.
Back to ESPN College Football presented by Marathon. You're watching the Big 12 Conference on ESPN. Just about set for the start of the third quarter between West Virginia and TCU. These two teams just keep on throwing haymakers at one another. Over 600 yards of total offense in the first half. Bob Wischusen, Roddy Jones, and Chris Budden. And Roddy, we have seen plenty of touchdowns so far.
Yes, we have. It's been an offensive explosion, and they've done it sort of different ways. West Virginia, a lot on the ground, methodical drives down the field, a couple of short rushing touchdowns. For TCU, it's been explosion through the air and on the ground. Tay Barber, Quentin Johnston, and this one, Kendre Miller in the end zone. But West Virginia responded. That was Justin Johnson on a touchdown. But right there, before the end of the half, you had Imani Bailey power himself into the end zone on a run late in the first half. So it's been an explosion of offense, and it's been a lot of fun.
And Chris Budden, hopefully you didn't speak to any defensive coordinators at halftime.
No, well, Sonny Dykes would like a little bit more of their defense, some more physicality. He said, we're not getting off blocks. We're where we want to be, and we want to be in position. We're just not taking guys down. For Neil Brown, the message to his team is fight. It's been that all season. They're where they want to be. They do get some good news. C.J. Donaldson will play in the second half.
That's huge for West Virginia. Already without Tony Mathis, as we talked about in the first half, their lead bell cow running back. C.J. Donaldson close behind as the clear-cut number 2. Those two kind of shared top duties as the running back for West Virginia. For Donaldson to be healthy in the second half, or at least be able to play, is big for the Mountaineers.
He was such a dynamic player for him in the first half, from his feel, his tough running inside. As you mentioned, at running back, they are very thin right now past the two guys they have playing. So it's going to be huge for a West Virginia team that wants to run the football.
West Virginia starts the third quarter with the ball, down by 7. And it will be a touchback. Again, Bob Wischusen here with Roddy Jones. You saw Chris Budden. All right, which of these two defenses has a button to push in the second half to slow things down? Because both teams just moved the ball at will in the first half.
I would say from what we've seen, it's probably TCU's, because theirs has been really a tackling issue as much as anything, not being able to tackle running backs and receivers in open space. For West Virginia, they have had some bad matchups. Receivers matched up on linebackers or safeties. That's a little bit tougher to correct. There's only so many guys you can put on those fast guys. So I think TCU is probably the more likely of the two to start getting stops just by bringing the ball carrier down.
JT Daniels in the first half, 14 of 19, 163 yards and a touchdown. And he'll roll out on first down. Scooped up by Sam James. And they start off with a pitch and catch. It looks like first down. Jamoy Hodge made the stop.
West Virginia go to that under center play action. Hit it to a guy in the flat a couple of times. Nice little wrinkle, giving TCU a different look under center as opposed to being in the shotgun they are most of the time.
Sam James leads West Virginia, but 8 different players with receptions in the first half. And now C.J. Donaldson, who's creeping up on his 4th career 100-yard game. Hodge brings him down. So Donaldson now with 87 yards rushing to go with 2 touchdowns.
And West Virginia's defense, we talked about who's more likely to get a stop. West Virginia's defense is the one that's created a turnover in this game.
Donaldson again. maybe a couple of yards. Travius Hodges-Tomlinson, who we saw off the field to end the first half, they were working on a calf injury, is able to start the second half. So that's a big injury return for the TCU defense.
It certainly is. Not only in coverage, but from a run support standpoint, playing that boundary corner at his size, 5'9", 180 pounds. Does an excellent job in run support, which will bode well for him at the next level where he's likely going to be in that nickel position.
3rd down and 6. Here comes a blitz. Daniels one-on-one down the sideline. Incomplete for Ford Wheaton. Josh Newton was beaten by Ford Wheaton, but they couldn't connect. Flag down, though, at the line of scrimmage.
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct. Offense number 53, 15-yard penalty. It will be 4th down. That is number 53's first unsportsmanlike foul of the game.
It's a big stop for TCU on the defensive side of the football, caused by Bryce Ford Wheaton, who disengages. But you see right there in the middle, Jordan White, number 53, gets pushed to the ground. And it's always the second guy. I mean, you take a swipe at a guy's face, and that's going to get called every time.
So the rugby-style kick, the first punt of the day, and now getting run into on the return was Darius Davis, so the flag comes out. I would have to think it's got a good chance to be kick-catch interference, which would be another 15-yard penalty. We'll take a look and see what the officials come up with.
I would too, but it looked like the West Virginia defender got hit into Darius Davis by one of the TCU players who was trying to block. So you had a West Virginia coverage guy pushing a TCU defender into a West Virginia player who got hit into Darius Davis.
Well, if you get blocked into the return man, then that's a different story, and that might be what the officials are hashing out here.
But what if you have a guy that gets hit by a guy who's getting blocked into the return man, which is what they've got to sort out.
There is no foul for catching interference. It'll be 1st down, West Virginia.
So it becomes a 58-yard punt. They pick the flag up. And they're going to say that this ball actually made contact with Davis on the way down, which made it a live ball, which allowed for a West Virginia recovery.
Wow.
So West Virginia's got the football at the 17-yard line of TCU.
Yeah, you can see it. It's caused by, is that Bryce Ford Wheaton pushing TCU player into his teammate?
Sam James made contact with Darius Davis, but according to the officials,
play is under further review.
And now they'll take another look.
On the field will come up by the receiving team, recovered by the kicking team.
So you have a gunner getting blocked into the return man, and then Davis touches the football, which made it live. That's the call on the field. We'll see what replay says. (28-21), TCU has the lead, but the ruling on the field a moment ago was that West Virginia would end up with the football. Sam James blocked into Darius Davis. The ball's not touched. But then watch on this shove of Noah Daniels, 21 in purple and white. His shin hits the football. After kick-catch interference had originally been called, they picked that flag up. And Roddy, you can see the ball was not touched until this push, and now. And now they're saying that becomes live football recovered by West Virginia, and replay is still hashing this all out.
And the coaching point on the back end of that for Noah Daniels is, why are you hanging out around the football? Tell you to get away from it. If you're going to go recover it, but there's no reason to just be hanging around and get pushed into the ball. This review has taken a long time, though.
And the crowd's starting to get antsy as well. They began this review at the beginning of our commercial break. We are now well back from commercial break, and you can still see the conversation is still going on.
Looks like we're about to get an explanation pretty soon.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands. First down, West Virginia.
And not surprising. I'm not really sure what through that entire review would have been something that would have overturned the call on the field.
In that situation, I'd love to get a little bit more explanation too, just to get an understanding of what they were reviewing as well.
A little bit more, or maybe any explanation might be more.
But I mean, it's a turnover for TCU, and it counts the same effectively as a takeaway for West Virginia on offense, getting new life. And now you feel like you have to punch this one into the end zone. TCU offensive is going to be tough to stop, and Sonny Dykes not real happy about the explanation and how everything has turned out for his team.
So now, after all of that, Sonny Dykes is being given an opportunity to speak his piece. And ultimately, this ends up with West Virginia with the football in the red zone at the 17-yard line. So C.J. Donaldson to the left of J.T. Daniels. Donaldson, not much up the middle. Dragged back near the line of scrimmage. Caleb Fox wrapped him up.
Both because of what West Virginia has done today, and you're now inside the 20. TCU's going to commit a lot of bodies towards stopping the run. West Virginia's had those opportunities down the field to catch some jump balls. Bryce Ford-Wheaton just had one that he let go. They take this shot.
Trying to turn the corner is Donaldson. Inside the 15. Down to the 13-yard line, picked up 4. So here's a big third down, especially you would think for the TCU defense in the red zone. If you can get a stop, what a huge momentum swing that would be for your team. We'll see what Graham Harrell has in mind.
I would imagine Neil Brown has told Graham Harrell, hey, if you can get to 4th and short, we're going to go for it here. You're down 7. You've stolen a possession. They went for it on 4th and short in the first half. They've been aggressive. They know field goals aren't going to cut it here. Joe Gillespie has to get his defense prepared to likely play 2 downs.
Daniels scrambling. Tripped up at the line of scrimmage and falls. That'll be a sack. Dylan Horton got him around the ankles. He lost a couple of yards. So now it'll be 4th down, but this is at least 7, if not 4th and 8. And it looks like that will compel Neil Brown to settle for a field goal.
The sack in that situation, huge for TCU, because you essentially take the decision out of Neil Brown's hands. You have to kick the field goal now, but what a play for TCU, getting the pressure, getting the quarterback on the ground, and forcing the field goal attempt.
First sack of the season for Horton. And the field goal from 33 is through for Casey Legg. But that is a big win for the TCU defense, as special teams ends up giving West Virginia, Roddy, a gift-wrapped opportunity to maybe score 7.
But your defense responds. Offense has carried him so much, but this time the defense gets him out of a jam.
Pressure the playoff chase. Anything can happen.
If it's us versus them, who you think gon' win? If it's us versus them, who you think gon' win?
What are you most interested in seeing with these first rankings?
And it is indeed Tuesday night, the first time that the top 25 of the college football playoff rankings will be revealed. Where will TCU be in that mix? Well, they've got a lot of football left to play in a 4-point game now to try and figure out where they will be. Right now, they'll be out at their own 25-yard line. And tomorrow morning, our first ever game from London, exclusively on ESPN Plus at 9:30 a.m. Eastern, 6:30 Pacific. The Broncos take on Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars at Wembley Stadium. Go to ESPNplus.com/NFL to watch.
Has anybody checked on Dan, how he's doing over there with the food in London or the getting around?
Dan doesn't make out well with food in America. Why would Dan Orlovsky do well with food in London?
Good point. It's been a while since we've seen Max Duggan on the field.
1st and 10 from their own 25-yard line. Start this drive on the ground with a Kendre Miller spin. And he is wrestled down after a gain of 3. Exree Lowe made the stop.
And now the question's going to be, what adjustments did this West Virginia defense make to prevent the big plays for TCU from happening? Way too many of them in the first half. And I think the frustrating thing for Jordan Leslie is going to be that it came both through the air and on the ground.
Duggan steps up in the pocket, floats one to the sideline. Incomplete. Overthrew Tay Barber. 3rd down and 7.
Every time you get these 3rd and longs, as good as TCU has been on 3rd downs this season, these 3rd and longs are the situations where your defense has to come up with something. Max Duggan running the football has to be top of mind if you're sending pressure. You can't over pursue, and there's a lot of guys around the line of scrimmage right now for West Virginia.
TCU is 3 for 4 on 3rd down. Empty backfield. Here comes a blitz. And out to the sideline. Bobbled and dropped by Davis. A fastball from Max Duggan. And Darius Davis couldn't hold on. And it will be a TCU punt.
They got what they wanted with Davis on the sideline. It's a pretty good throw by Duggan. Davis just not able to bring it in. Duggan frustrated. He could have done a little better putting it closer to Davis, but certainly catchable. And that's the stop that you're looking for if you're West Virginia, especially with the way that this second half has started.
First punt for Jordy Sandy since the first possession of the game, and he barely got it away. And it takes a West Virginia hop out of bounds across the 40-yard line. So this is going to be excellent field position for West Virginia. Only a 30-yard punt. Well, the Saturday Night Football game presented by Capital One in the Big House, Michigan. Michigan State for the 115th time. 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific on ABC, as well as the ESPN app. Michigan, at least according to the AP poll right now, would be a top 4 team. They'll take on their in-state rival, and we'll see what shakes out Tuesday night.
Yes, we will. Michigan State, ever since the little brother comment in the late aughts by Mike Hart, Michigan State's been on top of that rivalry.
Daniels over the middle, throws it behind Cortez Braham, but he does a great job to reach back and make a 16-yard catch in front of Mark Perry.
It's big-time delivery by JT Daniels. A really nice catch on the back end by Braham. Flipping his hips behind him, bringing the ball in. But I like the play action down the field on first down. TCU starting to bring bodies around the line of scrimmage. Quick flash fake, little dig behind him, able to complete it.
Out to the sideline, step under by Sam James. He's in the red zone before he's finally brought down. 24 more yards. He broke the tackle of Bud Clark.
Similar thought process, just a little fake to the running back, then you sling it out to James, and again, it's the tackling space for TCU coming back to bite him. Had a tough time bringing James down with one guy. I mean, how many tackles has he broken today? Creates a big play for West Virginia. This is where they stalled there earlier, in the red zone. But running the football is really how they've gotten things going, particularly as they've gotten closer and closer down to the goal line. That's what they did through much of the first half.
And off to Donaldson. With a stiff arm to the 15-yard line. They'll mark him out right at the 15 for a 4-yard gain.
Tight end Brian Pollanday. A nice block out front. Max Duggan, who spent a lot of time on the sideline. I mean, between the recovery on the punt by West Virginia, obviously halftime, and then the 3 and out. Like, we haven't seen very much of the TCU offense in the last hour.
Donaldson hammers his way down to the 12-yard line. 3 more. That should bring him up to 99 yards rushing as D. Winters made the stop.
Thought C.J. Donaldson got a little impatient on that run, tried to cut it inside of the block. If he lets it sit just a little bit longer, he can bounce that out, have a blocker out front, get more out of that. But that's a young running back, or a running back that's young in his running back career.
He only got 2, so it's 3rd down and 4. Another crucial 3rd down in the red zone in a 4-point game midway through the 3rd quarter. Play clock down to 5.
A lot of space in the slot to the top.
Daniels calls for the ball. They get the snap off. Here comes the blitz. A slant. Caught. Prather. 1st down and goal. He's inside the 8-yard line.
It's a big-time throw by J.T. Daniels and a big-time catch, but West Virginia now, you're starting to feel it offensively. The confidence that J.T. Daniels has delivered the ball with on this drive.
No Tony Mathis. So it's C.J. Donaldson and Justin Johnson sharing the load. Bryce Ford Wheaton, he gets a try on the ground. And that time, the TCU defense was ready in the form of Johnny Hodges.
Trying to test that TCU defense on the perimeter. But it's these big receivers that have come up on this drive. Sam James, Caden Prather on that last 3rd down. They're having so much success on the ground, it's felt like this is going to be more J.T. Daniels' game in the second half.
Quarterback run. Daniels to the 4-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and goal.
We said this last time that West Virginia got down close. I'm Neil Brown. You're telling Graham Harrell, hey, look, this is 4 downs right here. Field goal, and you're down by 1 still. So as long as you get a positive play here, 4th and goal, I think you're telling your offensive coordinator that you're going for it, which obviously affects the play call.
It looks like he's got Bryce Ford Wheaton top of the screen, a 1-on-1 potentially if he wants it. They're going to throw it that way. Incomplete. They ran a little pick play. Josh Newton in pretty good position on the coverage. Now it is 4th and goal.
And they're going to stay out. It looks like J.T. Daniels actually started to walk towards the sideline. It was immediately waved back.
Normally it's the other way around.
Right,
the
exactly.
Quarterback saying, I want to stay out here, and the coach saying, get off. Here comes the field goal group.
But we talked about it over and over. I mean, if you're relying on your defense to consistently stop TCU, trading field goals for potentially touchdowns, you're in trouble. But you got to have your best play here on 4th and goal from the 4.
4th and goal for West Virginia. They go the opposite way. Incomplete. Crowd looking for a flag. Prather, the intended receiver. And TCU gets the stop on downs. Travius Hodges-Tomlinson. Man-to-man coverage. He won the battle.
Smaller receiver on a bigger cornerback. They wanted pass interference. I think that's a good play on both sides. I don't love the play call, though. 2 fades back-to-back, and TCU gets off the field. Well, West Virginia just had 2 shots from the 4-yard line to get the ball in the end zone. They go to a fade to the field to Bryce Ford-Wheaton on 3rd down, and then on 4th, it's a fade to the boundary to Caden Prather against Travius Hodges-Tomlinson, and it felt a lot like they're hoping for the flag there. I did not like the sequence of play calls. You're going to go fade once, that's fine, but then on 4th down, you got to pull out a better play call.
Duggan held the ball a long time in the end zone, and then Quentin Johnston dropped it. So Neil Brown, who during the timeout had a long conversation with the officials. And on the right side of the screen, you can see that Graham Harrell wasn't talking to anyone after his team turned it over on downs. It's 2nd down and 10. TCU at their own 4-yard line. Right up the gut. Andre Miller, some breathing room. Out across the 10 to about the 13-yard line, sets up 3rd down. He picked up 9. Lee Koba made the stop, but it's 3rd and 1.
Up the middle, Steve Avila and Alon Ali, left guard in the center. They made that play. Washing defensive tackle down, getting up to the linebacker by Ali. It sets up a, not only is he given breathing room, but 3rd and short.
Spinning for the 1st down is Miller. Koba drove him back, but he got enough. So it's another 3rd down conversion. Both teams have been terrific on 3rd down today. West Virginia 7 for 12 and 4 for 6 on 3rd down for TCU.
If Lee Koba hadn't wrangled Kendre Miller there, it was going to be a foot race to the end zone. There was nobody else. Even though TCU gets the 1st down, West Virginia prevented it from being a lot worse.
Duggan wants the deep ball over the middle, wide open. Savion Williams still on his feet. Now he stumbles. The turf monster got him, and he's down at the West Virginia 27-yard line.
You're going to get Williams, who just pushes a little bit to the outside, expands the corner, and really loses Wesley McCormick. And because of the coverage, there's nobody in the middle of the field. Max Duggan, easy pitch and catch. Explosive plays against that West Virginia defense have killed him.
The way Wesley McCormick was kind of shading Williams to the middle, did it not look like he thought he was going to have some help?
It looked like he expected somebody else in the middle of the field. You're exactly right, Bob.
There was no one in the middle of the field for West Virginia. Another chunk play. Duggan out of the pocket. And he'll throw this one away. 3 different receivers now for TCU have a reception of 55 yards or longer. So they have been the big play offense they've been all season today. And that one got them out of trouble.
And when you look at this West Virginia defense, the secondary has been the weak spot really all year. But when they have been left on islands, they have stood no chance against these TCU wide receivers. And the offensive line's done a good job of giving Max Duggan enough time to find them.
Imari DiMercado swamped under behind the line. Jordan Jefferson, Dante Stills. They blew that play up at the line of scrimmage, a loss of 3.
Those 2 guys have been all over the place today. Jefferson has created penetration. He's been in the backfield. He's knocked balls down, and Stills as well. We talked about him at the top of the broadcast. One of the best interior linemen in the Big 12. And he's going to need to come up big here on a 3rd and long.
All of a sudden, the defenses have a chance to change momentum in the second half. 2 red zone stops by TCU, now a chance for West Virginia. Duggan dumps a screen left to DiMercado. He's at the 30, cut down inside the 25, down to the 20-yard line, 3 yards shy of the 1st down. He picked up 10. That'll make it 4th down and 3, and now a decision on the TCU side.
This offense is the 3rd best offense in the country statistically. You're going for it here. You've done an excellent job running the football. You've got a quarterback who's a threat in the run game, who's 6'2", 210 pounds. They've gone empty. Now you give him a decision. Likely going to see a motion to try and get a tell on coverage, but Max Duggan's legs coming big here. Converted a big 4th down last week.
West Virginia with a chance to get a stop on downs. Davis in motion. Here comes the rush. Slant left. Caught by Johnston. He's inside the 10-yard line with a 4th down. Conversion and a first to the 9. He picked up 11.
You motion Darius Davis across, and it is one-on-one. Those are the only 2 guys to the left side of the formation. A first-round receiver against anybody. And you are taking your guy. Quentin Johnson with a drop earlier on this drive makes amends by the big 4th down conversion. What a delivery by Max Duggan, the experienced quarterback, and the trust that they showed in him.
Blitz on 1st down and goal. Up the middle, DeMercado to the 6. Koba made the stop. Closing in on the end of the 3rd quarter as TCU trying to push the lead to 2 scores.
And Bob, you mentioned it a second ago. TCU's defense able to come up with 2 red zone stops. One after the quick change and one after a drive, forcing a field goal and a turnover on downs. West Virginia's going to need something like that at some point to give their offense enough time to take over.
Mercado. Flags thrown as he goes down at the 2-yard line. Stop made by Jefferson.
Personal foul, face mask, defense number 13. Half the distance to the goal, automatic 1st down.
So on the tackle, the personal foul.
Hershey McLaurin, as he comes in, grabs him, puts him right down. Automatic 1st down, and it's going to give West Virginia the ball. Looks like on the 1-yard line is going to go to the 4th quarter.
And a fresh set of downs, goal to go for TCU when we come back to Morgantown to begin the 4th.
Matt Berry back in the college football studio. Some games here in the early window. Getting good. Syracuse has come back from the dead. They've got the ball moving it down just a touchdown. Garrett Schrader out for the game. Florida State is expected pulling away in the ACC network, as is Arkansas on SEC network. And South Florida and Houston 42-21. All of this is to say the game on ESPN right now, the best of the lot.
Well, Matt, neither team has led by more than 7. As we start the 4th quarter, TCU trying to go up by 2 scores. And they've got it 1st and goal at the 1. They will run it, and they will get stopped. DeMercado with nowhere to go. He lost a couple of yards.
Penetration by this defensive line. Again, that's Jordan Jefferson that was right there in the middle of it initially. Able to get a stop on 1st down. And I mentioned it a second ago, this West Virginia defense, they're gonna have to at some point stand up either in the red zone or in the open field and force TCU into a mistake.
Johnston in motion. They give it to him, and he gets stopped. A little misdirection, and he got to the 1-yard line and was turned aside. Wesley McCormick stayed home.
There was actually some confusion when the ball is snapped. It goes right in to Quentin Johnston, and it almost turns out well for West Virginia. Watch when the ball snapped. It hits Johnston and then ricochets out right in his path. He picks it up on a bounce and almost gets in the end zone because you had Wesley McCormick sort of trailing, but TCU avoids disaster on that 2nd down.
3rd down and goal at the 1-yard line. A late substitution for West Virginia trying to get set. And around. Johnston breaking tackles, but nowhere to go. Raleigh Collins, the freshman, gets a huge tackle for loss that'll result now in a field goal try.
Collins breaks down at the critical moment as he sees that reverse coming It's a good job by the freshman of feeling that something was off, getting out to Quentin Johnston and forcing the stop on third down.
So Griffin Kell from 30. Right down the middle. But we continue to have a game where neither team can build more than a 7-point lead.
This West Virginia defense needed a play. They got fortunate on second down, and then they made their own fortune on third down. Riley Collins, the freshman, bringing down the potential All-American in the backfield.
After a first half with 625 some odd yards of offense, Roddy, the defenses are making the big plays here in the second half.
And with their backs against the wall, too, that a fourth down play for TCU's defense getting a big stop. And then this one on third down, forcing a field goal from this TCU offense. Riley Collins on the West Virginia defense comes up big. And West Virginia keeps TCU within striking distance with that stop. Massive for this team.
So now still down only 7. Jeremiah Aaron will let that one go through the back of the end zone. Tuesday night at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific on ESPN and the app. You can catch the exclusive reveal of the first college football playoff top 25 rankings of the season. Reese and the guys will break them down from top to bottom with coach reactions, as well as a live interview with committee chairman Boo Corrigan, the NC State athletic director. We find out what the committee thinks of the top 25 for the first time this season on Tuesday night. And this TCU group continues to play very dramatic football each week, coming from double digits down the last couple of weeks, and in a battle today with JT Daniels, who wants a deep shot and overthrows Sam James.
That's Sam James one-on-one, but JT Daniels led him up the field when James broke it a little bit not entirely flat, but more diagonal across the field. Not on the same page with his receiver. But West Virginia started to throw the ball more on first down because of TCU creeping towards the line of scrimmage to stop the run. They've done a pretty good job of in the second half.
Play action. Daniels on a rollout, under pressure, goes down. He tried to shake off the sack and could not get away from Jamoy Hodge. That's the third time that the Frogs have been able to bring down JT Daniels.
And you get the rollout, doesn't have the initial look, pumps a little too much, and Jamoy Hodge coming from inside out brings him down to force the 3rd and long. It's become a defensive struggle a little bit in the second half, but a big play by TCU. After a missed opportunity on first down, you get a sack on second, forcing a 3rd and really long.
And a look over now for JT Daniels, as if to say, someone give me that 3rd and 18 play call, please, or 3rd and 19.
It's probably taken them that long to scroll in the play call book.
3-man rush, over the middle, incomplete. Jeremiah Aaron, the intended receiver. Good coverage from Noah Daniels. Well, the last couple of weeks, the TCU defense, first half to second half, to allow those comebacks, they've been a big story. They allowed 2 second-half field goals 2 weeks ago to Oklahoma State and won the game 43-40, and pitched a shutout against Kansas State in the second half and won 38-28. You can't come from 17 and 18 points down, obviously, unless your defense rises up, and they have. Another short punt. And letting it bounce was Davis. But it will roll near midfield at the TCU 46-yard line. So great field position after only a 38-yard punt. I am not nearly in shape enough to do that.
ESPN College Football is presented by Marathon. Get the most out of your drive, and in part by Taco Bell.
After a 2-year absence here in Morgantown, the pumpkin drop has returned. The 33rd edition teaches engineering concepts to students by having them design enclosures as they try and protect a pumpkin that's dropped 11 stories off the roof of the Engineering Sciences building.
Did you ever do that in elementary school with the egg drops?
Well, I mean, I dropped eggs and pumpkins a lot to watch them explode, not to try and protect them.
Let's come up with some good contraption. Diapers worked well for the egg drop. Wrap it up a couple times.
Here's Kendre Miller. First down and then some. Terrific run with great field position to start the drive. One snap, and TCU is at the West Virginia 33.
Kendre Miller gets Brandon Coleman out front, pulling from the backside, and does a nice job. He's so good at just slipping blocks for a big back. Guy 220 pounds. He's got great short area quickness, excellent balance, nice patience behind the blocker.
Miller again, spins again, and he's close to a first down. Let's go down to Chris Budden.
Bob, Sonny Dykes prides this team on the fact that they never panic. They're very calm, but this was the first time after that last possession that you saw them starting to get frustrated. The offensive linemen slamming their helmets down because they weren't able to find the end zone on that last series, but have tried to use that frustration and anger as fuel this possession.
Well, they're in position again to take a 2-score lead. They had to kick a field goal, settled for that their last drive down. Kendre Miller's over 100 yards, 108 to be exact. This time quarterback run for Duggan. Got back to the line of scrimmage, and we have not seen Max Duggan and his running ability play much of a factor today for TCU, and it didn't there.
No, we have not. It's a good play by Jarrett Bartlett on the zone read. He looks like he's going to take the back, and then right at the crucial moment bails and goes for the quarterback. We used to call that an up stun in the old triple option offense. Excellently executed, and it sets up a third down. Max Duggan, as you mentioned, we haven't seen a ton of his legs, but said it a number of times. These are the situations, empty set, third and short. but they can be so deadly.
Johnston in motion. Quarterback run again. Going nowhere again is Duggan. On third down, he goes backwards. Sean Martin with the tackle for loss. And now, are you in field goal range if you're TCU? Would they think about going for it on fourth down? And no, they're going to send out the field goal group for a long one for Griffin Kell.
I want you to watch Coker on the backside. He starts to lean right before the snap, which gives Sean Martin a tell that counter's coming. He follows right behind and is able to tackle Duggan in the backfield, set up the long field goal.
From 46. Right down the middle for Griffin Kell. A big kick to stretch the lead to 2 scores here in the fourth.
Penn State, Ohio State getting interesting. Buckeyes had 37 yards rushing for the entire game. Travion Henderson goes 41 yards for the touchdown. Ohio State back on top, 23-21.
Terrific matchup that obviously impacts the college football playoff between Penn State and Ohio State. And we've had a good one between TCU and West Virginia. Of course, this one impacts the college football playoff landscape as Max Duggan doesn't look 100% right. We're going to talk to Chris Budden coming up in a little bit about his status on the sideline as Aaron returns from the 5 and dives out to about the 23 as we take a look at today's weekend wake-up brought to you by Wendy's Breakfast and some other important games on the way today on ESPN and ABC. Kentucky and Tennessee, so another big test for the Vols at Neyland tonight at 7 Eastern on ESPN. And, of course, the Michigan State-Michigan battle at 7:30 on ABC.
Michigan State-Michigan battle is fascinating, but Kentucky-Tennessee, since Chris Rodriguez has been back for Kentucky, the balance that they've had running the football and their ability to protect Will Levis, I think makes them dangerous. If they can bleed the clock, keep that Tennessee offense on the sideline, maybe force a turnover, it's kind of the recipe for an upset there.
Daniels thrown high and behind Sam James. And Chris, how about an update on Duggan from the TCU sideline?
Yeah, we were wondering why we haven't seen him run the ball much, and he's having issues with his left calf. Earlier in the game, we showed you he was working with the massage gun. He's put 2 compression socks on both calves. He was talking with the trainers, really trying to figure out if he could put weight, if he could move on that left calf. So much so they even had Chandler Morris, backup quarterback, warming up in case he gets injured in a drive. But it sounds like he's still going to try and give it a go.
Maybe that seems to fit the reason we haven't seen as much of it, but on that crucial time, they go to him twice. He stopped in the backfield.
Sweep to Donaldson. Cut back. That was a pretty good run. It looked like TCU had strung the play out well. Caleb Fox made the tackle on the backside, and now C.J. Donaldson is hurt once again. So an injury timeout and an important one on the West Virginia side. And the Taco Bell Live Mas student sections across the country are competing to be the Live Mas student section of the year all season long here at Milan Puskar Stadium. 60,000 total, but a big student section for the Mountaineers. And somebody needs a pump.
Who's in charge of blowing that thing out?
After the injury timeout, 3rd down and 4 for West Virginia, down by 2 scores. No C.J. Donaldson on the field. JT Daniels has missed on 5 in a row. Scans the field. Finally a completion and a big one on 3rd down to Sam James.
TCU shows 6 guys on the line of scrimmage and then drops 8. 3 safeties deep, 5 underneath. James just does a nice job finding a soft spot in the zone. It's a pretty easy read for JT Daniels. Once James sits down, delivers it to him, moves the chains.
Daniels well protected, now escapes the pocket, but doesn't escape far. Dylan Horton with another TCU sack. That's their 4th.
You're going to see Dylan Horton right here. He just does a nice arm over move to come inside Jaquay Hubbard. The right tackle actually splits the tight end. Does a really nice job getting between the two, getting to the quarterback. Dylan Horton has had a really good game, coming in without a sack on the season. A couple of them here today.
Three-man rush this time. Long throw. Bumped was Bryce Ford Wheaton. Josh Newton, that is a terrible penalty for Newton to take. That ball was sailing up over the head of Ford Wheaton. Ended second down and 20. And it looks like he gives West Virginia a first down.
Defense number 24. Ball we placed at the spot of the foul. Automatic first down.
And he knows it too. This ball's high and inside. Ford Wheaton does a good job of trying to get back to it. He's got no shot unless he's Inspector Gadget with Go-Go Gadget arms to get back to it.
Nice reference.
Yeah, thank you. But as you said, it's a tough spot for Josh Newton to be in because his momentum's taking him that way, but it's a bad penalty.
First carry of the day for Jalen Anderson, as without Tony Mathis and now down C.J. Donaldson, Anderson and Justin Johnson are the only two healthy running backs on the two deep left. That's the 7th carry this season for Jalen Anderson, as that's how deep, without Tony Mathis and without Donaldson, West Virginia has had to dip down the depth chart to find ball carriers. Four-man rush. Shot play. Sam James, the intended receiver, just out of his reach. That was a pretty good throw from JT Daniels, and Sam James could not make the over-the-shoulder catch.
Just a hair too far for Sam James, but if you're TCU, you're up by 10 with under 7 minutes. You can't have big plays, and I'm not sure that Sam James tracked this all that well. Well, I think no matter what, it's going to be out of his reach, but maybe you get a dive if you track it a little bit better. But for TCU, there's so much, I mean, you're up by 2 scores. West Virginia has to have the ball twice to get back in this game. If you let them dink and dunk down the field and take time off the clock, you're fine. You can't have big plays.
They'll run for it on 3rd down, and they'll be compelled to go for it on 4th down.
Yeah.
6.5 minutes to go against a TCU offense that's tough to stop, and you need 2 scores. This is an easy decision for Neil Brown.
Question is, what do you go with here? Early in the game, especially with Donaldson, they ran the ball well in these situations.
They're letting a lot of time come off the clock even as they make their decision. Justin Johnson to the right of Daniels on 4th and 1. He's got the first down. Justin Johnson moves the chains. That will stop the clock for the moment. And now it starts again. 5:45 to go.
This offensive line, it's a nice job there of creating some space. But you mentioned the clock. West Virginia's been really deliberate on this drive. They're going to have to pick up the pace just a little bit. You don't have to go full hurry up, but you have to be aware that you're running out of time.
Daniels, tipped ball, incomplete. Tried to find his tight end, Brian Polanday.
Ball was just behind Polanday, who sits down in the middle of the field. I don't know if JT Daniels was trying to get him to take a step and lead that way, but with a big tight end that's only got 2 catches on the year, you got to put those right between the 8s, help him out a little bit.
And out thrown by Daniels. The catch is made, wrestling his way forward, Sam James. About 2 yards shy of the first down. Bud Clark made the stop. And some words between Clark and Sam James before 3rd down and 2.
Tell you what, Sam James has gotten the better of Bud Clark a few times today, but Bud Clark has continued to battle his tail off. There's a big-time stop right there, and again, West Virginia sort of taking their time in the play caller.
The 11th play of this drive. And a little collision at the mesh point, but they still are able to dive forward as Justin Johnson gets the first down. And the clock continues to roll, 4:45 to go. West Virginia down 2 scores. And I don't know if we see the sense of urgency from an offense right now that knows they've got to get the ball twice. As high-powered as TCU's offense is, as hard as they are to get off the field.
You're giving your defense very little margin for error if you do indeed get the ball in the end zone. You almost have to have a stop on 3 downs.
Daniels, he's going to take a shot at the end zone here. Flag out. James, the intended receiver.
Pass interference. Defense number 26. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
So Bud Clark gets flagged, and West Virginia in business with a first down.
You're allowed to contact the receiver, but by the time Bud Clark makes that contact, ball's already in the air. He's pushing Sam James to the sideline. Pretty clear call there. They're trying to get James on a little wheel after coming from that slot position. And it's via penalty, but another chunk gain for TCU, for West Virginia on the offensive side.
Seam shot at the goal line, reaching out to make the catch, and what a catch it was! Reese Smith somehow holds on for the touchdown. Hard to imagine you will see a better catch today than the one we just saw from Reese Smith. Takes the shot, holds on, and we've got a 1-score game again.
This is a great look at it too. Reese Smith diving, takes the hit, and is able to hold on to the football. And this will certainly be looked at upstairs. It is contact to the head of a defenseless player. The question becomes whether or not the contact by Josh Foster is forcible. But as they review the catch, it's a good catch. I don't think it is forcible contact, so it looks like it's been clean. And Reese Smith with a massive catch for this West Virginia team.
The lead down to 3, 4:12 to go. And an opportunity to ask our Aflac trivia question. Who holds the West Virginia school record for the longest ever punt return for a touchdown?
Did we get I thought it was a different one when we got the preview yesterday.
Sometimes we change it up when we know you cheated and looked at the answer of the one we were going to ask.
There's a bait and switch here.
That's correct.
Wow.
You cheat, we cheat back. That's the way it goes.
It's like my teachers in high school.
As you said, how much of a net has West Virginia left their defense? I don't think you would ever think of an onside kick here. Maybe TCU will put their hands team out just to be sure. 4:12 on the clock. You've got all 3 timeouts. So you have a chance, probably with a couple of series of downs, to see if you can get a stop and use your timeouts and give your offense one more opportunity with the football. The question is, can West Virginia's defense get that stop?
That is the massive question. But because of the big play, they've left themselves some room where if TCU gets a first down or even a quick couple of first downs, you can still come up with the stop for it with enough time to give your offense the ball back. TCU has the hands team out on the field. West Virginia in an interesting setup.
Well, Casey Legg is putting the ball on the tee, and this certainly has the look of a formation that could result in an onside kick.
And that 0 to the top, running out to the top of your screen, that's Bryce Ford Wheaton. So it looks like you may get one. Now, this is not a legal kickoff formation right now.
They have to get into a legal kickoff formation. A certain number of players, obviously, to each side of the kicker. Here is the onside kick, and it's corralled. Quavius Spivey was able to hold on to the onside kick and recover it immediately. Now, the game's certainly not over yet. West Virginia's defense now does not have field position on their side, but they still have a chance to get a stop.
It's just not great execution on the kick by Legg. Ends up kicking it right at Spivey, who gets a big hop, wisely steps up in front of that 10-yard mark to catch it.
I hate to say it, but to me, that decision tells you how much faith Neil Brown has in his defense's ability to get that stop. You'd think if you thought your defense could go out there and get a stop, you'd kick it deep.
Well, the counter argument to that is you still have the same chance to get a stop, whether you onside kick or not, and you have another opportunity because you onside kick.
There's a tip ball at the line. It falls incomplete. The only thing, though, is you have robbed your defense of about 40 yards of field position by onside kicking. Although, how about the decision by TCU? With the clock, you would think, and milking it down to be on their side, coming right out and throwing the ball on first down.
A couple of head scratchers there. You'd come out, I would think, with a first down run, especially with the success that they've had running the football.
Jordan Jefferson knocked it down at the line, so now it's 2nd down and 10. And that certainly saved West Virginia a timeout.
Looks like man-to-man. Darius Davis is going to be on a safety.
Here comes the blitz. They're going to throw it again. Incomplete. Darius Davis, the intended receiver. So now it's 3rd down and 10, and barely any time has come off the clock with TCU throwing the ball on 1st and 2nd down.
And if you're West Virginia, I don't think you go into conservative mode and drop 8 here. Max Duggan has done a nice job of finding seams. You've had some success getting to him. Jordan Jefferson's been able to get in the backfield. You've got Dante Stills. If you can get a stop here, this place will absolutely erupt.
Davis in motion. Another blitz on the way. Duggan floats one off his back foot. Jump ball, and it's intercepted! Malachi Ruffin picks it off! And West Virginia's got it back with a ton of time on the clock in all their timeouts. Only the 2nd interception that Duggan has thrown this year, with Jared Wiley, the intended receiver.
And what a disastrous possession for TCU on offense. You recover the onside kick, 2 incomplete passes, and then an interception. It gives West Virginia the ball back with essentially about 15 seconds off the clock from when they last scored. Neil Brown has a front row seat, fired up that his defense bails out the special teams after poor execution. And now it's up to the offense after the coal miner hat earned by Malachi Ruffin.
3 plays that took 16 seconds. Couldn't ask for more if you're West Virginia, as Daniels goes to work. Long check down. Anderson couldn't hold on.
Jalen Anderson in the game because of the injury to C.J. Donaldson. It had been Donaldson and Johnson. Had not seen a lot of Jalen Anderson today. But the redshirt freshman getting more run here in this crucial situation because of the depth concerns at running back for West Virginia.
Anderson will run it. Going backwards. Can't even get back to the line of scrimmage. Lost 3. Jamoy Hodge came through first.
All right, you're West Virginia. You've got 2 opportunities to get this. Clock is running down. You're not going to have time necessarily for another possession. You do have all 3 timeouts, but I'm Neil Brown. You can get close. You've already gone for it on an onside kick.
No doubt.
You
have to think 4
down.
Yeah, you
right,
have to think
exactly.
4 down territory here. Let's see what happens on this play.
Just can't take a sack.
Daniels steps up, sidearms one. Incomplete. So now it's 4th and 13. 3:03 to go. They have all 3 timeouts. Would they punt and ask their defense to go get them another stop? Or are they going to leave the offense on the field? It looks like they're going to kick it away.
I think you have to punt it.
Yeah, 4th and 13, maybe too prohibitive a distance to go for it.
Yes, and if you'd have gotten to 4th and 5 or less, that's when I think you start to think about it. But up by 3, if you can punt it away. You've got 3 timeouts, which allows you some leeway. But what a big stop by that TCU defense.
Oliver Straw with an end-over-ender. That takes a sideways hop and is down at the 50-yard line by West Virginia. As we answer today's Aflac trivia question, who holds the West Virginia school record for the longest punt return for a touchdown?
I'm going to guess Tavon Austin.
Now, we went with this answer really just because of the name. Victor Jack Rabbits, 99 yards back in 1955.
Tavon Austin was about the only West Virginia punt returner that I could think of. So I don't feel bad about not getting Jack Rabbits.
Our old colleague, former ESPN legendary play-by-player Mike Patrick, a lifelong Mountaineer fan, fed us that question. That was a good one.
That was a good one.
All right, so now West Virginia's defense is in the exact same spot. The question now, if you're TCU, you call them the same kind of plays? Probably not.
You're keeping the ball on the ground. You got two running backs in the game. I think if I'm Garrett Riley, Kendre Miller's going to see this thing 2, maybe 3 times.
There's the first run. Oh, and he goes nowhere. Lost a half yard. Naeem Muhammad walloped him behind the line of scrimmage. And now a timeout called by West Virginia, their first. Well, how much will this game impact the college football playoff rankings? We've got this week college football AP rankings brought to you by Goodyear. They're going down to the wire with Ohio State and Penn State. Georgia and Florida play at 3:30, and there's TCU right now at number 7. But they have to survive against West Virginia to hold their positioning as we head towards the first release from the committee on Tuesday.
Which it'll be interesting to see a couple of these teams, TCU being the big one. Obviously the AP voters feeling like Alabama's still the better team, but TCU's got the better wins than Alabama this year. On paper, or excuse me, when you watch them, I don't think anybody would argue that Alabama's not the more talented team, but this Horned Frog team has just gone through a gauntlet. And in the Big 12, you got to bring it every week. They're going to need to bring it the next couple of downs.
You can see the West Virginia defense selling out to stop the run.
And here's where Max Duggan being banged up with his legs could really hurt him.
Miller. That's a good one. Right into the heart of the defense, about 2 yards shy of a first down. He picked up 7. Another timeout is called now by West Virginia. As we said, it's almost time for the first college football playoff rankings release. So this Tuesday, ESPN will have the CFP Top 25 show presented by Allstate. And as we get ready for the release, we wanted to know what Roddy Jones' picks would be for the college football playoff rankings. It's hard to argue with any of those.
No, and look, I'm only two different than what the AP poll is. But I think TCU's above Alabama by nature of their wins and the fact that they're undefeated. I like Ohio State, though, at the top. I think overall, you look at what they've done offensively, the improvement defensively, they've been the most complete team, the best team in the country to me. Obviously, Tennessee's been fantastic this year. Clemson in the ACC's got some great wins. Haven't been quite as impressive as some of those other teams ahead of them, though.
Well, this is it for the West Virginia defense. 3rd down and 3. If they can't get a stop here, this all but ends the game for TCU. 2:43 to go. Only one timeout left for the Mountaineers. Quarterback keeper. First down carry for Duggan. And that'll stop the clock momentarily. We'll see if West Virginia opts to use their last timeout before first down or after. But only having one timeout left just about ends the game.
How about the grit of Max Duggan, though? Banged up in the game, has had his legs worked on, those calves, puts the sleeves on. Not 100%, but when his team needed him the most, a little flash fake. He follows Kendre Miller, who threw a nice block on that play. Gets a massive first down.
They'll take the clock just inside of 2 minutes. Run it with Miller. And you'd think now West Virginia would call their final timeout with 1:54 to go. But 2 more running plays And TCU can take the clock, and it looks like they're going to hold on to that last timeout and not call it here. At some point, they'll spend it, but right. TCU can take the clock down inside of 30 seconds to go. Even with the timeout at some point being called by West Virginia.
Yep. And honestly, it doesn't really matter at what point you take it.
Miller again. Wrapped up by Sean Martin at the line of scrimmage. And there is the timeout called by West Virginia before third down. Again, fans, don't forget, go to ESPN.com/All-State Playoff Predictor and check out your team's chances to make the college football playoff. See how they match up with Roddy Jones' picks.
Be some Alabama people who think they should be in the top 6, but there's just 6 undefeated teams in the country, so they have earned it. But this play for TCU is one of the biggest they've had this year. It feels like they're going to have one of these every week. That's their biggest play of the season. For West Virginia, if you have any hope, it's got to come right now, and I would expect it's Kendre Miller or Max Duggan. Not getting anybody else touching that football. What would your top 6 be, Bob?
I like yours. I think that's a fair top 6. I think mine matched it.
There we go. Great minds.
So the best West Virginia can hope for is to get a stop here on third down. Now TCU, as we said, can take the clock down inside of 30 seconds to go without West Virginia having any further timeouts. A handoff to DeMercado. And he will try and protect the football. Reached it out to try and pick up a first down. That was probably not worth the risk. Don't expose the football with a minute to go, and he just did. Held on to it. It'll be fourth down and a yard. And now you'd think TCU would take the clock as far down as possible, maybe call a timeout and figure out what they want to do on fourth down.
If you're TCU, you may even take the delay of game to make sure that all of the time possible runs out. Unless you dare attempt a long field goal or try and go for it on fourth down, potentially end it on your terms.
You could even pooch punt it.
Yeah, you could.
And just try to get the ball inside the 10-yard line somewhere. So down to 26 seconds to go. Again, Bob Wishoes and Roddy Jones. Chris Budden today here. Beautiful day to watch a game in Morgantown. It's been a good one. What have you learned today about TCU? Did you have any questions after winning games 4 in a row against ranked opponents, coming on the road to a below 500 West Virginia team and getting a tussle?
The question was, how would they respond to the success of the season? There's been a lot of adulation poured on them over the last few weeks as they've continued to string together ranked wins, and they've responded really well. I've been very impressed with the way the defense especially settled down in the second half. And with Max Duggan not at 100%, this offense still found ways to move the football. So I've been incredibly impressed by what we've seen from this crew.
And winning on the road in tough environments in your league, I think that's something that gets more respect from the playoff committee.
Agreed.
Than maybe the opposing team's record or whatever the point spread might be. Can they finish it off? And it looks like they're going to go for it on fourth down and a yard. There's the snap. Duggan, he's just going to hoist it down the sideline one-on-one, and it's caught! Touchdown, there's a flag thrown at the line of scrimmage. Does Savion Williams have an icing on the cake touchdown, or is this coming back as a flag was thrown at the 30-yard line?
Offside, defense number 6. That penalty's declined. Result of the play is a touchdown.
That's one way to handle fourth down. Just hoist one up to Savion Williams from 29 yards out, and they've got a game-sealing touchdown.
It's 4th and 1 to seal the game, and in true Big 12 fashion, you try and draw them off sides. You do that, chuck the ball at the end zone. Savion Williams with a massive catch to seal it for the number 7 team in the country that's going to remain undefeated.
Griffin Kell adds the extra point. TCU, it looks like, will have a 10-point win here in Morgantown. And West Virginia lining up offsides as they jumped in the neutral zone, gave TCU a free play, and they took advantage. Savion Williams ices the game.
The experienced quarterback, Max Duggan, hard count. How about the throw? Put it up there, give your receiver a chance. Savion Williams, all 6'5" of them up in the air. Watch how he high points his ball. This is the definition of it. Push the corner by, go up, 6'5", extend it with the hands. It's about 10 feet tall going up there and grabbing it. What a job by this TCU offense. Max Duggan fired up on the back end. But this league, you're going to have to continue to battle week in and week out, even if you are TCU, because it's from top to bottom so good. And with what they've got left, I mean, Texas Tech is a good defensive football team that can get hot offensively. You still got Texas and Baylor, and Iowa State may be the best defensive team in the conference. Still some battles to come, but I would say this test, they have passed with flying colors.
Well, the Frogs are done leaving Texas.
Yeah.
They've got 2 home games left and 2 road games, but their road games are at Texas and at Baylor. So this was the last time they had to get, it looks like, on an airplane for the rest of the season between now and wherever they end up playing a bowl game. And what will that bowl game be? If they run the table, stay undefeated, will TCU make the college football playoff? They have survived, it looks like, here in Morgantown today. As Aaron on the run back, out across the 20-yard line. So 15 seconds on the clock for West Virginia. And TCU will stay perfect at 8-0 after they follow up a 4-game win streak against ranked opponents. The only Big 12 team to do that in the regular season, and the first FBS team to win 4 in a row against ranked opponents since 1996. And it's only TCU and Tennessee that have 4 wins, period, against ranked opponents this year. And the Frogs did it 4 weeks in a row.
And offensive football teams with experienced quarterbacks, excellent skill at receiver, and just a maturity.
Jalen Anderson to the 36-yard line. He picks up a first down, and we'll see if West Virginia gets one more snap off. They will. As the clock rolls, here's JT Daniels. Intercepted to end the game. Bud Clark with a pick. And he'll run it out of bounds in West Virginia territory to seal the deal. 41-31 is the final. TCU, all they could handle from West Virginia today. But they survive with Max Duggan out-dueling JT Daniels.
The performance by this offense and the complementary football. I mean, we talked about how good their defense has been in the second halves of games, and that proved true here today.
Let's go down to Chris.
Coach, the Cardiac Frogs, it's another dramatic one for you guys. What did it take to pull this one out?
Well, we made it hard on ourselves at times today, but you know, as you said, guys just finished, and it's important to them to grind it out at the end of games, and we found ways to win, and we did it again today. I'd like to make it easier on ourselves sometimes, but we've managed to pull it out, and somehow they're grinding through it.
8-0, you told us you learn a little bit more about your team each week. What did you learn getting a win in a tough environment on the road?
Yeah, you know, I didn't think we played great today. I mean, we're going to have to play better than we did today, and you just got to play more physical and tougher. But you got to give West Virginia a lot of credit. I mean, they came out and they were excited to play, and they got after us early, and you know, thought we played good enough to figure out a way to win.
Hey, speaking of tough, at moments there's Max Duggan with blood on his arm, his back of his jersey's being stitched up. What can you say about his play and his toughness today?
Well, I mean, our entire team feeds off of him. I mean, he has a will to win that's pretty strong, and it affects everybody in our program. And I'm glad he's on our side. I know that.
Congratulations. Enjoy it, Coach.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
TCU does it again for Roddy Jones and Chris Budden. I'm Bob Wischusen saying so long from Morgantown, where the Frogs survived by 10 against West Virginia. Back to Matt Barry in the studio.
All right, Bob, what a story it's been, TCU, throughout this season. The 3:30 window has just kicked off. ACC Network, Wake Forest, and Louisville.